They should pay us for that.
No kidding. Even like a nice Coke Zero. Yeah, dude. So, let's do the intro.
Okay, I'll do it this time. You did it last time.
Did I? I thought you did it last time.
Oh, maybe you did it last one that we posted.
I'll never...
Do it. You do it.
No, you do it. You're like, I'll sit here until you open your mouth.
Don't try me.
Welcome back to another episode of Secondhand Smut. I'm Angela.
And I'm Paul.
This is Secondhand Smut.
Welcome back.
So, Paul.
What?
I'm blonde now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So...
Big white elephant in the room.
Big white elephant in the room for all the listeners. I'm
yeah.
blonde now.
Yeah.
I went to get my hair dyed. Well, to get a balayage.
Ah.
Which is a process. That's what balayage means. Dude, the hairdresser was telling me all this technical shit, and I was like, "Girl, I'm never gonna remember."
That's like when I go to dispensary and they're like, "And this cannabinoid,
like, does it get me high?
Yeah, I came here for something.
Yeah.
I'd like to leave."
I'll just tell you, it took 4 hours and 35 minutes, and it was $500.
Okay.
Yep. And so I was like, when I sat down, I brought my Kindle. When I sat down, I was like, do you mind if halfway through I just start reading? She goes, you can start reading now.
Do you want to read out loud?
She was like so gung-ho, so I didn't have to talk for the entire 5 hours.
Beautiful.
It was amazing. I'm sitting there with foil in my hair, just holding the Kindle like this. I'm like, I don't care if I look crazy right now.
Oh, yeah.
Then, so like halfway through, she starts taking the foil out, and my hair lands.
And it's platinum blonde.
And it was white.
Well, yeah.
And I said, oh.
Oh, balayage.
Yeah, but...
Because I thought balayage was like ombre.
I'll show you later what I was wanting.
Yeah. It doesn't look bad.
No, it looks...
For the listener.
I think it looks really good.
It looks really good.
I think I look
I've
hot.
never in my life seen you anywhere near blonde.
I know.
Even blonde adjacent. It's crazy. But when I opened the door, you sent me that picture and I was even like...
You're not that blonde.
Well, I was like, that's just, blonde. But then in person, it is.
Did you see all the dimensions in the back?
Well, yeah, because the back's a lot darker.
It looks really good.
It looks really good.
I looked down and I said, oh my God, that's white hair. I said, I'm in it. I said, this is happening. When I went to get my first tattoo when I was 16, I was like, oh, I'm getting a tattoo. Cool. The second the tattoo gun hit my skin, I was like, oh, I'm getting a tattoo.
Yeah, forever.
And so that's what happened with this hair. I was like, yeah, I'm going to dye my hair. And then when I saw that white hair, I was like, oh,
this is the biggest mistake I've ever made. No,
I love it. I absolutely love it.
No, it looks great.
But now I have to keep this up every single 4 months. That's not 4 months.
Reasonable.
I don't think it is either.
Can I tell you?
This is why I never wanted to do this in the first place.
Well,
Maggie
yeah.
and Christine get their hair did every 4 months, dyed, sit for hours, hundreds of dollars.
They do?
Yes.
Sorry.
They do. And,
it doesn't.
And I never wanted to... You're an idiot. Well, who knows? Because what does her hair normally look like? You've always only seen it dyed.
That's true. You know what
I'm saying?
True.
So
and I guess a lot of times when I hang out with Maggie, it's like we're just like bumming.
Oh, for sure.
It's not like...
So now I have to do this every 4 months.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what happens? It just grows out to the ends.
I don't know what the fuck happens, dude.
Can I tell you? I got my hair cut today at 2 p.m.
It looks great.
And I was back here by 2:35,
nice.
And it cost me $48.
Is that good or bad?
That's good.
Yeah. $48.
$48.
Including tip?
Yeah, that's with the tip. It's 38 plus, and then I do 10 tip.
Nice. Yeah.
Used to be 35, whatever. But yeah.
Yeah.
Can't imagine sitting there for 5 hours.
Yeah, dog. Do you have a story to tell me?
I do. Okay, this is something funny. Let me tell you. For reasons related to things, I had to get my hands on a VCR.
Okay.
This week.
Cool.
And
Goodwill.
Well, I couldn't find one anywhere,
and then Goodwill, dude, they got 50 of them.
Well, sure. I was like, I could go there. You go online. You try to get one on the Amazon.
Yeah.
Guess how much they are?
Like $250.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, in what fucking world?
Yeah.
So whatever. The people I'm working with arranged for me to get one. Facebook Marketplace. They're like, will you meet up with this person and get a
just go to Goodwill.
Get a VHS player or VCR? And I was like, yeah. Well, also I was like, I don't have time. I have to work full time and work on this other full-time thing.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, yeah, figure it out. So I met up with some stranger off the internet. Cool. And I was like, oh God, what's going to happen? I got there. Yay.
Ooh.
one of the girls. He comes out and he's like, hey. He goes, I'd give you my bag, but I need it. And I was like, you're fine. They're just like, thanks for the VCR.
Uh-huh.
VCR, 5 VHS cassettes. I don't even know what to say.
What?
Can I tell you the fucking movies that it came with?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Classic. Please.
Liar, Liar.
Oh, my God. Please tell me Shanghai Noon is in there.
George of the Jungle.
With Brendan
Fraser.
Brendan Fraser is so fucking sexy in this movie.
Yeah. Babe.
Whoa.
The Goofy Movie.
Okay.
Banger.
I
banger,
feel like
banger.
these are going to be worth money.
I said, oh.
The Goofy
Are you kidding me?
movie?
And when they told me, they're like, hey, we found this one on Facebook Marketplace. It does come with like some movies, but like if you want them or if you want to throw them away, whatever.
Oh.
And then I get there and he sets these down and I go, okay, these are the best
Fucking
VHS
movies.
tapes anyone's ever compiled into a list of 5 and given to someone. Is that not nuts?
Paul, so do you get to keep the VCR after this project?
I'm planning on it.
Okay, can we let's have
Yeah.
5
Dude,
movie nights
to
and
test it
watch
to make
each
sure it worked.
one.
I put in Mrs. Doubtfire. Do you want to know the first thing that starts playing?
What?
The Shirley Temple Collection commercial.
Oh my lord.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh my lord.
I screamed and shut it off.
The
I was like, no,
nostalgia.
too soon.
Can
Yeah.
I tell you something, dude? You're not going to believe it.
Okay.
I have never seen Mrs. Doubtfire.
That's fucking crazy.
I have never seen this.
I mean,
movie.
I am someone that hasn't seen movies that everyone's seen. That's crazy.
I know it is crazy. I've seen every single one of the other ones.
Of course.
Obviously, Liar Liar.
This is the first one we should watch. We should do this
Okay.
at movie night and watch it on VHS with all the fucking lines
Yes.
and all the shit.
Yes. I'm
Dude.
in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's start watching VHS.
VHS is back.
Again.
VHS is back.
Okay. We brought it back.
We brought it back.
Dude, that's amazing. Whoa. Please be
God,
careful
stay
with them. Yep.
Anyway, that was my story. That was my VHS story.
That's
I knew you.
awesome.
I hid these because they were like out, and I was like, she's gonna walk in
I
and
did not
immediately
see
be
them
like,
at
why
all.
are there? Well, because they were like there, and I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, these
Yes.
are obvious. And then I got to spend 2 nights watching old home movies and crying alone in the dark.
Oh. Were they on VHSs?
Yep.
And so that's why you needed the
Yeah,
video.
and so they're old. They're like old when I still had a dad.
Oh, is your dad in them?
All over them.
Paul,
I went
can I
through,
see?
I went through a whole thing because I don't really know my dad, and
Right.
watching these, he's like doing camera tricks and stuff, and I go, oh, so this is why I'm so
Shut
fucking into production and why I like work in my industry. I didn't really know that
And
we
also,
had
like,
that in
cooking.
common.
Yikes.
Yikes.
That's wild.
Yeah, things are brewing inside of me.
Let 'em out.
I don't know.
You need a therapist.
I need a therapist so bad.
Do not
I got issues. But yeah, that's fun. It's great.
love talking about it.
Love talking about it.
Your hair looks so good.
Thank you.
I love this cut.
At least my hair looks good.
That's all that matters. You want to get into it?
Yeah, I have completely forgot what book we were doing.
No worries, dude. We're doing Practice Makes Perfect.
Right.
And it's a novel on the back. So,
it's the tiniest print I've ever seen. What was my guess? Do you remember?
Shit, I can't
Was
remember.
it like an older lady?
Yes. Piano.
Yes. Piano.
Fingers.
Yes. Okay, that was a good guess. Never mind. That was a good
Yeah,
guess.
that was a great guess.
Whatever. I'm just gonna read it.
Okay.
Okay. Annie Walker is on a quest to find her perfect match, someone who complements her happy, quiet life running the local flower shop in Rome, Kentucky. That's funny. But finding her dream man may be harder than Annie imagined. Everyone knows everyone in her hometown, and the dating prospects are getting fewer by the day. After she overhears her latest date say she is so unbelievably boring, Annie starts to think the problem might be her. Is it too late to become flirtatious and fun like the leading ladies in her favorite romance movies? Maybe she only needs a little practice. And Annie has the perfect person in mind for her tutor, Will Griffin. This definitely feels like a classic romance book.
Classic romance.
This feels like another book where I'm going to say, I feel like we're learning a little something about the author by reading this. Will, the sexy tattooed and absolutely gorgeous bodyguard, is temporarily back in Rome, providing security for Amelia Rose as excitement builds for her upcoming marriage to Noah Walker. I don't know these people. Oh,
Nope.
Annie's brother. He has one personal objective while on the job: stay away from Annie Walker and any other possible attachments to this sleepy town. But no sooner than he gets settled, Will finds himself tasked with helping Annie find the love of her life by becoming the next leading lady of Rome, Kentucky. Will wants no part in changing the sweet and lovely Annie. He knows for a fact that some stuffy, straight-laced guy won't make her happy, but he doesn't have the heart to say no. Amid steamy practice dates and strictly educational tutoring lessons, Annie discovers that there's more layers to Will than his usual stoic attitude. As the lines of their friendship become dangerously blurred, Annie reconsiders her dream guy. Maybe her love life doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be real. Hate it. Maybe I'm just in a bad place mentally.
Okay.
But that sounds boring. That sounds like an ABC family movie or something. Hallmark.
You know, see,
and this picture on the front, it's this tatted up bad boy. The tattoos on his arm are flowers and a butterfly. So,
he's certainly not a bad boy, I'll tell you that.
Author of the cheat sheet and When in Rome. Is she from Rome?
I don't think Rome, Kentucky is a real place, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that sounds like one of those places that would be real. I don't know, Florence, Colorado.
Right. No, I think it's a made-up town.
All right. Well, let's get into it. How do you feel about this book? You seem unenthused.
This book was a 4.5
Whoa.
for me. Spice is 1, maybe 0.5.
Okay.
So this is a romance novel.
Yeah.
This is not a smut
That's
book.
okay. We cover all things.
We sure do. Certainly better than last week's The Shadows Between Us. This was this was a good book. It's cute. It
looks cute.
It is a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, it looks cute. I can picture
movie.
the B-list celebrities that are playing the roles.
This is small town, it's
I know
very
it well.
Cute. Yep.
We both do.
Yep. Yes. Annie is on a date, okay? And she goes to the bathroom and it's painfully awkward.
Yeah.
She is an introvert. She cannot get her words out. It's so fucking awkward. So she's like, okay, yeah.
4.5.
She goes to the bathroom. She's like, please excuse me. Comes back. And when she comes back, she can hear her date on the phone. And he's like, bro, you got to get me out of this. Call me in 5 minutes. I got to get out of here. This girl is painfully boring. She's pretty-ish, maybe, but it's not even worth a hookup. And she's like, ouch, harsh.
You know what? That's a text, bro.
Yeah.
That's not a phone call. That's a text.
Rude. So she's like, great. So she sits down and in walks Will Griffin.
These names are so classic.
Annie and Will.
Yeah, romancy shit.
She knows Will because, and it must have been maybe, it was When in Rome. So it was the previous book to this.
Okay.
Is her older brother Noah meets Amelia Rose, who is a pop star.
Who
goes to Rome for whatever reason.
Town.
I don't know. I haven't read the book.
Yeah.
So, and Will Griffin is Amelia's bodyguard.
Cool.
And so she met Will a few months back when he was in town with Amelia. She never really spoke to him. He never really spoke to her, but she was like, he's hot as fuck, obviously.
Yeah.
So she's sitting here, she's like, why don't we just get rid of this date, whatever. Will walks in and Will saunters over and he's like, well, Annie, how are you?
Yeah.
Annie Walker, how are you? And the dude, while Will is standing there, is like, oh, I'm getting a phone call. I'm going to take this phone call. She's just talking to Will. Just say, hey, what you doing? He's like, I'm coming back in town to protect Amelia while your brother and her are getting ready for the wedding.
Sure. They're getting married in Rome.
They're getting married in Rome, Kentucky, on the grass.
Because they just love it there so much.
In a tent. Uh-huh.
Okay. Why don't they go to Rome?
Like a Taylor Swift level.
Yeah. Why don't they go somewhere real?
Hey, who knows?
Because she's just down home girl.
Exactly.
That's what makes her so relatable and her song so good.
Yes. Oh, you get it. So, anyway, her date leaves. And Will's like, I'm going to walk you to your car. And he's on a date. Will's on a date.
Oh, everyone's just dating.
So he looks at his girl and is like, I'm gonna walk her to her car.
I'm just gonna walk this other girl to her car real quick.
Come to find out, that girl's just like a hookup for him. They just fuck
okay.
buddies.
Fine. So they
So
eat dinner. Straight culture is so weird to me.
So they get dinner. They don't just fuck.
Yeah. What do you mean? I'm like, if you're just a hookup, then I'm not hanging
Dating
out.
you.
You know what I mean? What are we gonna know?
Women need a little bit more.
Ugh.
So Annie, as Will's walking Annie to her car, she's like, why can I just talk to Will so easily? And he's the sexiest man I've ever met, but I can't talk on a date. Like, I wish I could just date Will, you know?
That's a good question because I can't talk to hot people.
Yeah, right? Neither can I.
Yeah.
Like, if anything. But no, she can talk to him.
Good for her.
He's like, all right, Annie, I'll see you around. Drops her off. She gets in her truck. Because if you live in Rome, Kentucky, you drive a truck.
Well, and if you're like an offbeat, like quirky girl who works at a flower shop.
Yep.
Who's like a 6, obviously.
Actually, I think she's more of like a... Well, she's a 10 to Will.
Well, she might be a 10 to Will, but she's presenting as a 6 in
Yeah.
these dating situations. And even that might be... No, I think 6 is how he described her.
Yeah.
Pretty, but maybe not even worth the hookup.
Yeah, which is harsh. What a
Which is super
asshole.
harsh. Yeah.
Anyway, so we learn that she's had a crush on Will forever.
Okay.
And we learn that she's a 27-year-old...
Oh, no. I thought we were past this.
virgin.
Yeah. Ugh. Ugh.
Twice 27, you know? Anyway,
If you don't use it, you lose it.
don't I know it? You burnt.
You burnt.
I burnt myself.
Yeah.
Annie is putting herself out there because she wants a husband. She wants to get married and she wants to have kids. Don't say, I see a glimmer in your eye. And you don't
No.
need to say it. I don't want kids, Paul.
I know. You don't. Yeah, I don't think that everything that you just said applies. I think a lot of it does.
So that's what her goal is. We find out Will doesn't believe in love, will never
He's
have a
been hurt.
relationship. Well, he had a bad example with his mom and dad. His mom and dad were serial cheaters. They cheated on each other, stayed together for the kids, all this shit. So he doesn't believe in love.
I get it.
When he goes back inside the restaurant to sit down with his hookup, he is distant and keeps calling her Annie.
That's fucking wild.
Like, he slips up twice and he's like, something, something, Annie. And the girl's like, all right. So finally she's like, hey, that was Annie, right?
Yeah, if I'm that girl and you're just like, I'm going to go walk Annie to her car, just a friend of mine. Just a friend of mine. And then calls
Calling
me
me
Annie.
Annie.
I would be like, do you need to call me Annie when we're fucking later? Because I'm fine with that because this is a hookup and it means nothing. You call me Annie and I'm going to call you Captain Hook. And we're going to have a good time.
Captain Hook, yes. Oh, speaking of Captain Hook, a little tidbit you need to know.
Oh.
Annie loves
Peter Pan.
reading
Oh.
historical romance, specifically pirate romance. So she reads
Dude,
pirate smut.
How did I know that?
I don't know.
How did I smell that?
He did. Captain Hook did.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. Did you just give yourself chills?
Yeah, sometimes the universe speaks through me.
Yeah, so just kind of keep that in your mind. The girl is just like, listen, we don't have to do this, dude. I don't need to hook up with you. You clearly are hung up on Annie. And he's like, all right, thanks, dude. Let's go.
She's like, I got a rabbit at home.
Right,
That doesn't make me go to dinner.
Or call me another girl's name. He gets in his truck and leaves, in his car and leaves. And we find out, because he's just thinking, he also has had a crush on Annie ever since he met her.
People are so dumb. I hate people that have crushes on each other.
Well, and they don't tell each
So
other.
frustrating to me.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I've only really experienced crushes when it was me lusting and obsessed after someone who's never going to be available
That's
or
the
never
whole-
like me back.
That's the whole thing. I've never had a crush on someone
I'm like,
who likes
is
me
it
back.
Yeah, I'm like, if
Ever.
they like me back, we're dating. That's how it
Exactly.
happened.
Exactly. I've never had a crush on someone that liked
Yeah.
me ever in my life. So his brother calls him, Will, while he's driving to Rome, to wherever. And his brother's like, hey man, listen, I got to tell you something. I got engaged. And Will gets fucking pissed and flies off the handle because apparently him and his brother both always never believed in love.
Okay.
And he's like, you fucking know what marriage is like. Look at our parents.
Maybe-
You're going to fall in love and marry someone? And he gets pissed. And his brother's like, hello, you
What-
should be happy for me.
Maybe he's just getting married for the dowry.
Yeah, maybe.
You know? It's not about
His
love.
brother's also a divorce lawyer, which is kind of funny. But he gets pissed. He hangs up on his brother.
I feel like you shouldn't marry a divorce lawyer. Sorry, divorce lawyers.
Yeah.
That would freak me out. Unless you are a divorce lawyer yourself, I'm not doing that.
No,
You're
I
gonna
would not.
destroy me
You
if we
would
get
ruin
divorced.
me. You know everything.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okie dokie. So, Annie goes over to Amelia's house, which is the pop star, which is also her brother's fiance.
Her soon-to-be
We're just going to call her
sister-in-law.
sister-in-law.
Yeah.
And Annie and Amelia are like BFFs. They've hit it off. Annie has 2 sisters and a brother, and now Amelia. And no parents. Their parents are dead. Yep. Bummer. So Amelia is like, if I can think of a way for you to get better at dating men, will you do it? Will you listen to my plan? And Annie's like, yeah, sure. Whatever your plan is.
Ugh, the virginness of it all is like I hate it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she told Amelia, she's like, oh, I heard Will Griffin's back in town, you know.
Does she know that she like has a crush on him?
No. Nope.
That's
no
right.
one
When
knows.
you have a crush, you never tell anyone. That's your first mistake. Is you never
keep it to yourself.
Bottle it up, and then just let every moment with that person mean something super, super special, but only to you.
Yes.
And then you just be sad.
Especially when your best friend is Paul.
Yeah.
I will never
Are you, bitch? Are you kidding me? This bitch moved in with the dude I had a crush on who rejected me and lived with him for years.
That's true.
That's true. You talk about loyalty. Oh, don't tell Paul. He'll tell your crush you have a crush on him. Don't tell Angela. She'll move in with him.
Forgot about that.
I didn't.
4 years of my life. Sorry, Paul. Do you see why I'm always like, you hate me, right? Do you see why?
Well, I get why on paper. But I mean, if you wrote down everything I ever said to you, I'd be like, you hate me.
Right. Why are we friends?
It works.
Anyway, so Amelia was like, oh yeah, Will Griffin's back in town. He's actually staying at the inn. This old woman named Mabel. He's staying at Mabel's Inn. He's there tonight. Okay, so the next morning, just remember, Paul, this is a small southern town.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot this is Kentucky.
Old-fashioned. Yeah, old-fashioned. So the next morning, Will goes for a run, and it's summertime in Kentucky.
So he has his shirt
off. It's
off.
like 5 a.m. So he's got his shirt off, and he is got this sleeve with magnolia flowers all over his arm and up onto his side and on his back. And he's sexy. He's like 6'3", brunette, ripped, jacked. He was in the Air Force for 7 years before he became a bodyguard. He's hot.
Hot. Air Force, I get that. That's
and so
like
he's only Air Force. That's the only one I'm cool with.
I would do Navy. Queers.
Oh, you know what I would do? You definitely would do Navy.
I would definitely do Navy.
Because they're all gay.
I would tear up the Navy.
And he's running down Main Street, and everyone's like coming out of their shop to look at him running, and everyone's like clutching their pearls.
Oh my god!
Like, oh my god. And he's like, why is everyone fucking gawking at me? Haven't they ever seen anyone?
Something?
Yeah, he's like, hasn't they ever seen anyone run?
You ever seen a hot person before?
Right. But he's just like, I can't stand this fucking small town, you know?
Yeah, well, don't run on Main Street. Run on one of the many back roads in small towns.
For sure. Anyway, so he goes over to Amelia's, and they like go over their schedule for the next month. Will's only going to be there for a month leading up to the wedding, and then he's getting the hell out of Dodge. And Amelia's like, hey, I don't need you that much while you're here. Like, I just need you when we go out in public. I'm working on recording a new album. Then when I'm recording, I don't need you around at all. So I'm going to be having you do some other things for me, and you're going to kind of have to just figure it out. Lay low.
I think as long as I'm getting paid.
For sure. But he's like an adrenaline junkie seeker. So he likes being on tour with her. So he's going crazy in this month. He's like, great, I'm not looking forward to this. So she slips him a letter and is like, can you take this letter to the local flower shop for me? Don't open the letter, but stay there until Annie opens it and promise me you'll say yes.
I don't like this bitch.
Amelia?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I'm just like picturing Taylor Swift.
No, don't picture Taylor Swift.
Well, you made me do that.
I'm sorry, picture...
Sabrina Carpenter?
Sure, but like not so fake.
Okay. I understand exactly what you're saying when you say that.
Yeah. Like actually nice, good person.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Not that she, whatever. I don't want to get into it.
So you didn't like the Grammys then?
Okay. He's like, oh my God, Annie is the local flower, so I'm going to go see Annie. So he goes.
Well, what's this letter going to say? Like, do you like me? Check yes or no. And it's going to say from Will. That's what I'm getting.
For sure, but it's not. So he is going to walk into Annie's flower shop, and he gets stopped by the owner of the hardware store next door, by Phil. And Phil is like, puts his hand on Will's back and is like, you going in there to see our Annie, are ya? You gonna go talk to Annie? And
why is he touching him?
He's trying to be intimidating.
Oh, I was like,
he's known Annie since she was born, and she doesn't have a dad. Phil's like, hey, just, we wouldn't like to see anybody hurt Annie, now would we? And Will's like, all right, Phil, thanks. Saunters into the flower shop.
Letter in hand.
The little ding over the door goes off. Annie's at her work table. There's flowers everywhere. And she's sitting on a stool, and she's reading a pirate smut book.
Yeah.
And she looks up, and she sees Will, and she's like, ah! Throws the book behind her. And he's like, gives her a smirk. He's like, what you doing?
Yeah, what are you reading?
He's very flirty with her. It's very cute. Their banter is fantastic. I was giggling.
4.5.
4.5. I liked this book. He's like, what you reading? She's like, I will never tell you what I'm reading, so stop asking.
The Hearts of the Sea.
He's like, hey, so Amelia wanted me to give you this letter, and I have no clue what it says, and she wanted me to wait for you to read it. So she opens the letter.
It's just a picture of a middle finger. If I had a bodyguard that would do shit like that, I would just be like, I'm going to need you to take this to them immediately and stay until they've read it.
With
and
them.
do that all the time.
Paul, that would be so funny.
Yeah.
Just a middle finger.
Yeah.
She reads it, and Amelia has written like, hey, Will is very good with women. He's been on a million dates. I think he should be your dating coach. Let him be your dating coach. Tell him he needs to say yes, and he'll work with you. He'll teach you about confidence, self-esteem, and he'll get you going. He'll help you out.
Okay.
Annie's like, this is humiliating.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking...
Yeah.
So Will looks at her and he's like, so what's it say? And she's like, I'm not fucking telling you. Puts it behind her back.
I would have just, if I was her, I would have assumed that he knew.
But he told her, he was like, I have no clue what it says.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay,
He's like,
okay.
Amelia, I was like, I have no idea what this is. So she's like, I'm not fucking telling you. And then there's this very cute, very touchy, flirty. They're wrestling.
Let me grab it.
They're wrestling
get
for it. Yeah, and they're just like a steamy, like they're, oh my God.
Faces are close.
Yeah, the whole thing.
I mean, whatever. I'm rock hard for this. Whatever.
For sure.
I would obviously be like in love with this man.
Paul,
I would immediately hate myself so much and never think he could ever love me that
right.
It would take way more than that amount of book to convince me that this person liked me.
Oh, yeah.
It would need to be a Lord of the Rings trilogy situation.
I'm like, this is only 300 pages.
Yeah,
That's not enough.
that's not enough for me to think that someone could love me.
Yeah. This hot, statuesque man.
Yeah.
Like Michelangelo.
In this small, like you live in a small town
carved
and they
him.
show up.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and she owns a flower shop and he's got flower tattoos. I mean, hello. You putting that together?
No.
Anyway, so finally he gets it and he reads it and he's like, no. Looks at her and says, absolutely not. Internally, we hear him talking, and he's like, I'm miserably attracted to this girl. There is no fucking way I can spend more time with her. I don't believe in love, but this girl is making me feel things that I've never felt before. And if I spend time with her doing these lessons, I'm going to fall in love and I don't want to fall in love. So I'm telling her no.
There's just something different about her.
There's just something.
It's
her
different
overalls
about
that she wears every day.
Oh my God. She's not like other girls. She doesn't care how she looks.
Yes.
She doesn't wear that much makeup.
Messy bun, no makeup, and overalls.
No makeup look.
Exactly. I do know. So, she's like bummed, but he's like, listen, I don't believe in love and relationships, so I can't teach you. I can't do this for you. And she's like, please? She changes her mind.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I want to do this. You're the perfect person to do this because
I hate you.
I
could never love you.
Because you don't want a relationship. I do want a relationship. There's no risk of me falling in love with you. Meanwhile, she's already in love with him.
Yeah, but like, what do you mean?
Uh-huh.
What do you mean?
So he still says no. She like grabs a bouquet or something and turns and walks away she turns and walks away. She doesn't have anything in her hands to go into her back room. And then she grabs something while she's there. And when she turns around, he has followed her and he's right there, like on her. And she's like looking up at him and he's so hot. And then they go to walk and now they're both in the door jammed together. So he's looking at her and she's looking at him and she's holding this thing and their fingers brush. And he like leans down and she leans up and she's like, are we about to fucking kiss? She doesn't say that out loud.
Oh,
like,
that'd be really funny to say it out loud. That's like,
she doesn't cuss.
That's something that would happen.
She doesn't cuss in this.
This is a virgin who doesn't cuss.
Uh-huh. He cusses. Other people in this book cuss, but she doesn't cuss.
Oh my God, I hate her.
Uh-huh.
I do not like this bitch.
They're standing inches from each other.
Get off your fucking high horse. Okay.
Get it all out.
No, we're done. That's fine. That's it. I'll sprinkle it throughout.
Okay. He looks down at her mouth, that whole thing. And just as they're like, oh my God, I'm about to kiss. Boom. Door opens.
Ding-a-ling.
In walks
Phil.
James, which is her brother Noah's best friend, and he owns the farm over.
And he's always loved her, but been too afraid to say. And he doesn't want to mess up his relationship with her brother.
And he's very good looking. We hear from Will's perspective. He's like, well, if this guy isn't the most fucking all-American boy.
Oh, corn-fed. I'm so
which,
into that.
Jesus Christ, so am I,
Take
Paul.
me to it.
if you're from, oh my God.
I mean, my boyfriend's from Texas.
Yeah. And he looks corn-fed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, he's in a suit and he's here to pick up a bouquet. He's going to a wedding.
God, fucking everyone's getting married around
Everyone's
here.
getting
Everyone's got a
married.
wedding to go to.
Uh-huh.
Sucks.
And Will and Annie's like lights up when James walks in. And he watches her talk to James. And he's jealous as fuck.
But does she have a thing for James, or has she ever?
We'll find out. So he's jealous.
I smell a threesome.
Oh man, a
Wouldn't that be
farmer boy and a
farmer
bodyguard?
and bad boy bodyguard who's in town, and then you're in the middle?
I would love to be in the middle, but at some point they're gonna need to kiss each other so I can watch.
Well, if I'm doing it, all they're doing is putting on a show for me,
right?
And then both come to take care of me. But
Paul, me too.
Ooh.
I told
Okay.
my
Oh my
manager.
God.
I said, all I want
ex-manager
is ex-manager. I said, all I want is two boyfriends who are also boyfriends.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Is that too much to ask for?
I mean,
should I get on a site?
Yeah, I could tell you one.
Okay, great. He's watching Annie with James. He's jealous as fuck, and he's like, "Oh hell no!" He can hear James go, "Hey Annie, would you ever like to?" And as James says that,
Suck on these nuts.
Will goes, "I'll do it." And Annie turns around. And
You'll
like,
suck on these nuts?
Can I watch?
Can I watch?
And then you suck on my nuts.
Yeah. Whoa.
And she's like, "You will? You'll do it?" And he's like, "Yes, but I have one condition."
This guy's gonna get the fuck out of here.
James,
get the fuck out of here. Never speak to him again.
He's like, "I get to read that book that you threw over your shoulder when I walked in."
Oh, matey.
So she gives it to him, the book. Then, okay, so whatever. Some time goes by. Then we get this cute little scene where Annie is grocery shopping. She's got her basket in her hand, and we hear Will come up, and he's like, "Hey." She reaches for like a cereal. And puts it in her basket, and he like takes it out her basket, puts it on the shelf, puts a different like cereal, like they're just flirting, you know. And
I need to know what cereal we're doing because I'll be pissed.
Well, she was reaching for Fruity Pebbles. And
I was thinking Fruity Pebbles.
God, you're psychic, Paul.
I do. I'm on it right now.
You really are.
My mind's open because of all the trauma.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
And he like did shredded wheat or something. Anyway.
Is that a fat joke?
Oh, dude.
If I put Fruity Pebbles in my basket and someone was like, why don't you try these like honey bunches of oats?
I'd be like,
no.
Fuck off.
First of all, I would never do Fruity Pebbles. I would do Cocoa Pebbles, but...
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not an idiot.
I was never a Fruity Pebble person. It was always cocoa.
Cocoa.
Yep. Cocoa.
Cocoa.
So they're walking around the store having this cute flirty exchange where like they're each putting stuff into each other's basket and then putting it back on the shelf, whatever. And he's like, "Hey, so I finished that book that you gave me."
Quick reader.
Hot. That would get me going.
Oh, I thought you said he said hot.
That would get me going.
Well, of course I would get you going.
So she perks up and she's like, what did you think about it?
Yeah.
And he leans down and gets like close in her face and he goes, "I thought it was sexy as hell."
Oh.
She's like basement flooded.
Oh my God.
She's like,
put an eye patch on and take me.
Yes.
Peg leg.
And she's like, "What was your favorite scene?" And we get this thought of her. She's like, "Why am I being so bold with this man?
Because you want
I'm
it.
asking him these crazy questions."
I want to, how dirty was this pirate book?
So I want to read you just a little tidbit because they have a very real moment.
Okay.
Okay. "What was your favorite scene, Will?" He steps a little closer, a taunting look in his eyes. "The scene in the pub?" "William," I chide, knowing full well his favorite scene was the one with the ladder. Must have been the sex
Jacob's
scene.
ladder?
I absolutely should not be trying to get him to mention it, but I can't help it. Something about Will brings out a different side of me. We're so close that our baskets are side by side. I catch a glimmer in Will's eyes, and the corner of his mouth tugs into a smile. "You wouldn't be trying to lure me into an inappropriate conversation now, would you, Angel Annie?" In an instant, any playfulness I feel dies with that awful nickname. Don't call me that, please. I don't like it.
Whatever virgin who doesn't cuss, get out of my face.
I'm not this is a very real moment here, Paul. So
Okay, sorry. 4.5. Angela's connecting.
I'm not looking at Will, but I can still feel his gaze, and then I can feel his fingers lightly clasp my elbow as if he were afraid I was about to drift off, and he needed to keep me there beside him. Annie, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it in a negative way. I know, no one ever does when they call me those names, and I've heard them all. Saint Annie, Angel Annie, Goody Goody Annie. It's never meant in a bad way, but that doesn't mean I don't feel a negative connotation when they say it. It feels like they're saying I don't have as much substance as everyone else, that because I'm sweet, I don't have as much to offer. I constantly feel underestimated, and I'm so tired of it. Will's thumb glides tenderly against my skin. His voice drops until it's intimately quiet. I won't do it again.
Bitch, that's your own baggage.
It is her
That
own
is
baggage.
no one else's baggage but yours.
But in that moment, Will learns that she doesn't like to be seen as innocent and sweet.
She just doesn't like to be seen as she portrays herself
As
and
she
is
behaves.
naturally.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Me neither, I guess. I like people to think I'm responsible and have it together.
yeah, sure. So they get back to flirting with each other as they
Yeah.
walk around the grocery store.
He'll never call her Angel again.
He'll never call her Angel again. And their fingers are like brushing, as they're walking and stuff like that. And then she's like, please don't tell anyone, like my brother or all my sisters, about our tutoring sessions. It's kind of embarrassing. I want to leave it to us.
I'd be like, you should have told me that earlier.
well, you would have already spilled
I
the
would have,
beans.
yeah, if she did say in that moment during the letter interaction, I would have been leaving, texting everyone, like,
Why?
because I'd be like, what's up, dudes? Guess what I'm doing? This is crazy shit I'm doing. I like to tell my friends stuff.
That's funny. And he's having, he's like, that's fine. I won't tell anybody. And he's like walking around having thoughts. He's like, God, this girl is so sweet. Like, I just really like this girl, blah, blah, blah. And he feels the urge to say, just remember, I don't do relationships ever. So like, we have to do this as just friends. And she's like, don't worry, I'm not going to fall in love with you. He's like, okay, I'm not going to fall in love with you. Meanwhile,
sounds
they're
like me on
lusting
Grindr.
over each other. You on Grindr.
I already have a
not gonna fall in love
boyfriend.
with you.
I'm not going to fall in love with you. But I know that you probably can't help yourself from falling in love with me. And I understand that.
You tote the line of like no confidence and nothing
Well,
but.
that's because I'm like fully... No one hates me more than me or loves me more than me.
Same, I can relate to that.
I'm the best and the worst.
That's so funny. It's so true. What is
It's a
that
fun
called?
way to live.
And so, whatever. So as she checks out, she's unloading her basket, and she realizes he put a box of condoms in her basket.
Always play safe.
Okay, so for their first meetup, he's like, sneak into my room at the inn. And she's like, well, Mabel can't see me. So he like makes a distraction.
Not Mabel,
Mabel was
at the
her-
inn.
Yeah, Mabel was her grandmother's best
Horse.
friend.
Oh.
Horse. Mabel's in. We can't let Mabel see me. It's a horse in the front yard.
She'll tell everyone. Biggest mouth.
The biggest mouth.
fucking
The biggest
Mabel.
teeth. So she sneaks in, whatever. They're in his room at the inn. And the room is like covered in doilies and quilts
Yeah.
and stuff. And so
It's not a Holiday Inn.
She sits on the bed and she's like, God, I'm relieved the room looks like this. It's like the most unsexy room of all time. Like there's no temptation. There certainly won't be any temptation for me in this room with you.
Whatever, man. I get it on anywhere. You bringing this big hunk of man around me tatted up.
Well, so Will has that same thought. He just like saunters over to her and grabs her and throws her against the door and is like, you think this room would stop me from fucking he's like seducing her. He's like this close to her
This feels
face and she's
cringy.
like, oh my God, he's so hot. I can smell how good he smells. And he's like whispering stuff in her ear.
Hey, little mama, tell me what you want.
I'll beat the pussy out.
Beat the pussy up. Beat the pussy up.
Okay. His mouth is at my ear again, and his hands continue to hold mine, pinned above my head in a delicious, gentle pressure that makes me squirm under him. One I didn't know I liked, didn't know I needed. Now I'm afraid, and I feel deprived of it. Now I'm afraid I'll feel deprived of this for the rest of my life. Will moves from my ear, fanning his breath across my jaw, to hover just in front of my lips now. Annie, open your eyes and look at me, he commands. And until that point, I didn't even realize my eyes were shut. When my eyelids spring open, I feel drunk. His gray gaze is dark now and heavy on mine. I feel desperate for him to tip forward and kiss me. His thumb tracks back and forth over the inside of my wrist. I barely remember what I was here for today or what my name is, for that matter. All I know is my pulse is drumming loudly in my ear, and it seems to be saying the same thing over and over again. Kiss me. Kiss me.
Kiss the girl.
So he's just
Da-na-na-na.
being like, he's just putting on a show. He's showboating. He's like, you think
This is like deep end.
doilies and quilts aren't going to keep me from fucking wanting to seduce you if I want?
But it's like, I thought we were doing like practice
Right.
dates. We're going out to dinner and learning how to
Yep.
like have a conversation. I didn't know I was like coming to your room
Well,
for
then-
this fucking
well, she's like, "What's
bait
going on?"
and edge fest.
Yes, totally. Well, so then he lets go and he like laughs and smirks, and she's like, "You're such a dick. You were just trying to get me all worked up."
Wet.
Yeah, wet.
Wet and bothered.
And she is, for sure. And he's like, "Yeah, well, I just had to flex on you for a little bit." And
Flex
so then
that dick. I'd be like, are you hard?
he probably was. I mean, he
Right?
had to have been, right? Then they
Well, he's
get
just
back to their
soulless.
lesson, and he's like, well, what do you want? She's like, I want marriage, kids. I want to go to soccer practice. I want the whole thing. This is what I want my life to be.
Barf.
And he's like, I'm really not convinced that that's really what you want.
Yeah, I think you want to sail the high seas as a pirate wench, but that's just what I heard.
Yep. He's like, you just told me to never call you Annie Angel or Sweet Annie. You read these smut books. You're asking for like these lessons. He's like, I'm not fully convinced that that's actually what you really want. And I think you need to maybe like discover yourself a little bit, he says to her.
You've just been in this little town as a pretty girl waiting to be discovered, and I'm here to show
Discovering
you
you.
that you're more than what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely a lonely girl's fantasy book.
For sure.
No
My lonely
offense.
girls. No offense. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. So, next day or 2 days later, what the fuck ever, who cares? They go on a practice date at the local diner. She gets there before him. She's ordered like all this food. She's like nervous as fuck because now that's a date, you know? And
And
she's
it's
like,
pretty public.
It is
for a
public.
small town. If she's trying to not,
People are gonna be
they
talking,
didn't even
seeing
want
her
the
and
horse
Will.
to see out front.
Exactly. So he gets there and she's like, listen, he's like, so what's your issue on dates? And she's like, I don't know what to fucking say. Like, what am I supposed to say? I don't know where to put my hands. She's
Hands
like,
in your lap and your mouth closed. Be a listener.
She's like, I just don't know. Well, what if they don't speak? You know, what if she needs to lead the conversation? She's like, I can't lead
Fuck
the
them with
conversation.
your eyes, baby.
For sure. Well, I mean, I don't. It's not like I know, but whatever.
I think I know, but who knows how well it's ever actually
Well,
come
you just cut
across.
straight to the chase, so I don't know.
I know, but when I'm on dates and I'm being flirty,
I can't even picture it.
oh yeah, it's real cheesy. I love to tell someone what they want to hear.
You are.
It's an
a
Olympic sport.
I do think you're a cheesy person when it comes to romance.
Yeah.
But then they just start talking to each other, and it becomes very easy. And she's like, God, I just love how easy it is for me to talk to Will. I just love that. He tells her eventually, after they start, just conversating, he tells her why he got his tattoos, the magnolias. He's like, the magnolia tree in my yard growing up was the only place I would feel safe. It was a safe haven for me as a kid. And then she tries to ask more about himself, but every time she does, he just deflects and makes a joke and will not talk about anything serious.
Weird.
That time he opened up about his tattoos and the magnolia tree was like the only real thing she could get him to talk about. She's like thinking to herself, his humor is definitely a mask.
Weird.
You can't relate to that at
No.
all, can you?
No.
Weird.
Weird.
And he's like, well, what's something that you've always wanted to do but you've been too scared to? And she
Apparently
wanted
have sex.
And she was like, well, I can't tell him.
Get penetrated.
Yeah.
Ride a dick.
You're so on it, Paul.
Well-
And
Well, if you're a virgin, it's pretty obvious though. That's something you've wanted to do that you've been too afraid to do.
yep. She was like, well, I've always wanted to get a tattoo. And he's like, you should definitely get a tattoo. You'd look so sexy with one.
Yeah, tramp stamp.
And she's like, sexy? She's like, oh my God.
Me?
Uh-huh.
Sexy?
Yep. And she's like, you think I'd be sexy with a tattoo? And he goes, he was like, you're out of your mind. He's like, I already think you're sexy, Annie.
Annie.
She clamps up, freaks out. She's never been called sexy in her life. And she doesn't believe him. And then in her mind, she's like, oh, we're on a practice date. He's just telling me what I want to hear.
Well, yeah, I mean that is a little bit
There's no way this man thinks I'm sexy. He's
Okay.
there's no way this hot ass guy thinks I'm sexy. He's got to be lying to me. And so she gets a little in her head and she starts panicking and she's like, And she's like, God, I wish I was sexy, and I wish he did think I was sexy, but I think he's lying. And so she gets a little teary-eyed, and she's like, I gotta go.
In this conversation, I have related to both of these characters.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hide everything with humor. Also, I don't think anyone could ever love me, and I'm never gonna be sexy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I related to that too. I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
I would be like,
I talk myself out of people liking me.
I constantly think, I'm like, you're lying to me.
Yeah.
You're not. That's,
Everyone's a liar.
Yep. You're not.
I'm a liar.
Yep.
So everyone else is a liar.
100%, dude. Yes. So she stands up and she's like teary-eyed, and she's like, I got to get back to the flower shop. Thanks for the date. I'm leaving. And he's
like, but you ordered all this food.
He's like, fuck, what did I do? I feel really bad. She's crying. Like, damn, that sucks. So later that night, he goes to the flower shop and he wants to apologize to her. He's like, I gotta make this right. I feel really bad about this. I'm gonna read a little bit more for you.
Okay.
What happened, Annie? Are you upset that I think you're sexy? Are you afraid it's gonna change things? And she's like, no, I'm upset that you keep feeding me that line over and over again. And he's like, it's not a line. Yes, it is. We were in the middle of practicing, and you lured me right into your perfect trap of seduction with your question, and then made up the story about the tree, and then hooked me with the line about being sexy, and it was just too much. And then I felt silly because I was the one who asked for all of this. But then I got so caught up in it, I forgot it was a demonstration, and I pressed my hand to her mouth. None of that was a lie. None. I swear to you. I wasn't even setting a trap of seduction or whatever you just said. The story about the tree was true, and it's something I've never told another soul. And the part where I think you're wildly sexy is true too. And then I noticed tears welling in her eyes again, and now I'm completely lost. Annie, why does that make you cry? Because no one has ever said that about me before. They say it about my sisters, but never me. I'm always praised for being nice and kind and tender. I'm the girl next door with the sweet face. I'm never viewed as a woman. Will. Instead, I'm just the one they butter up so that I'll introduce them to Emily or Madison, her sisters. I'm like, ouch.
Baggage.
When I overheard him on the phone telling his friend how boring I was, and that he said I was only pretty-ish. His name was John, by the way, that guy that she went on the date with.
Dick.
He does come back into the book.
Oh, does he die?
She's like, she goes that I'll introduce them to Emily and Madison. And even John said, Will goes, what did John say? When I overheard him on the phone telling his friend how boring I was, he also said I was only pretty-ish. And then Will, grabs Annie, and he's like,
I'm going to kill John.
That guy doesn't deserve to go on living after making you feel so shitty, especially after he wore the ugliest baby blue polo I've ever seen on a date. She laughs.
Okay, homo. Did you see the way he was dressed on your date, girl? Disgusting. Perfect. I want him to be gay.
Yeah, well, now in your mind he is.
Yeah, well, everyone is.
That's what I'm saying. She laughs and I shift my hand around to the back of her neck, not willing to let her go yet. And he's just plain wrong. First, he was wrong about you being boring. You don't even need dating lessons, Annie. You were so perfect on our date. Even when you think you're doing something wrong, you're so damn adorable. I wanted to pull you onto my lap and do things with you in the middle of that diner that would have me put in jail for public indecency. Second, he was so wrong about you being only pretty-ish. God, Annie, you're drop-dead gorgeous. So beautiful it's hard to look at you and continue persuading myself that kissing you would be a mistake because of our agreement. And third, your ass. She
that
goes,
ass,
what about it?
mama.
Your ass is a work of art.
That ass. That's so funny. That's how I love to give compliments too. Heartfelt, heartfelt, heartfelt. And then the last one is also, that ass don't quit.
Love that, dude.
Also, I love you so much, your ass don't quit.
Hey, and dude.
Feels good.
That would make me feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then she looks, there's some dialogue, and she's like looking at him, she goes, it wouldn't be a mistake to kiss me. My heart rams into my ribs. It wouldn't. No, in fact, I think we should kiss because I could use the practice.
Superstar.
And then she looks at him. She goes, I want to change our original terms too.
Yeah, let's turn this into full sex work.
You make me feel different, and I like it. I feel free with you, Will, adventurous and curious. So I was wondering if you'd be the someone to help me practice taking risks with, doing new things.
Would you deflower me?
And maybe maybe help me find who I am now. He's like, so you want me to be your all-encompassing practice someone?
Do you want me to be your boyfriend? Because that's what it sounds like.
I ask, letting my thumb drag against her bottom lip. Hot. Okay, so that happens. They have this fucking moment where she's like...
Yeah, but what's the resolution? What do they come to? Just that they're...
Well, I'm telling you.
Okay, we'll do it.
Ooh, someone's interested.
No, I just want to know. I don't care. I just want to know.
I love when you get into it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So to avoid, he says yes to her. He's like, all right, I'll be your all-encompassing person. You can practice whatever you ask me, I'll help you with.
I'm just a tool for you to use.
So to avoid future miscommunications and he's like, I don't want another diner situation happening where you think I'm lying to you.
Yeah.
Or this is just part of practice. So to avoid future miscommunications, I think we should say, or if you get freaked out, say timeout. It's kind of like a safe word.
T.
T. Respect the T.
Respect the T.
It's like a safe word. She's like, okay, so we can like say time in or time out. And in that moment, he's like,
time in, baby.
and
open them up.
He kisses her, and it is hot. Their lips crash together.
She's been kissed before, though, right?
Yes. They kiss. It's hot and heavy. And as soon as he puts his tongue in her mouth, he lifts her up, and she wraps her legs around him, and they are fucking making
Dry
out.
humping.
And it's never been better than this.
Well, virgins are great at making out and dry humping. It's kind of all they got.
So before he gets carried away, because he's like, all right, I want to...
Yeah.
He...
Knock you up.
Yep. Knock you up.
I want to knock you up.
He breaks it off, and he's like,
he's
okay,
gonna
time
break
out.
her off.
He's like, time out. God, I wish you would break me off. Yeah.
Come around here breaking some things
I
off.
tell you, this whole book was a practice in edging because I was like, when are they going to fuck?
Well, yeah, because I mean, you're like what, halfway through the parts
Almost.
that you're referencing, and like we have just got a kiss.
Yeah. So he's like, all right, time out. And she's like, okay, that was great. And they leave the flower shop, and he's like, hey, what's your favorite flower? And she's like,
Favorite position?
magnolias.
Oh,
Which are what tattooed on his arm.
yeah, I know. I did get that.
Okay, so.
Was that true, or is it just
No, that is her favorite tattoo. So she's like, I can't believe
That's her
this.
favorite tattoo.
That's her favorite
Oh, what's her
flower.
favorite flower?
Sorry. I'll stop.
I hate her.
Oh, do you? I hate you.
Yeah, that's regular.
Some time goes by. It's their next date. And he's like, I'm taking you, we're going to do something fun.
Not on the town.
And he's like, I'm taking you to get a tattoo. You want a tattoo? You're too scared to get one? I'm going to take you to get one. And she's like, no. And he's like, yes, you can do this. You've always wanted a tattoo.
You can get a magnolia.
Yourself. He's like, you can get what you want. You little flower on your arm, on your wrist, whatever.
On your wrist?
And
little star? Little
he's like,
triangle?
you don't need to ask for anyone's permission or forgiveness. This is for you.
Yeah, you 27-year-old virgin.
27.
Do something.
Yeah. She's like, all right, fuck it. Let's do it. So they go to this tattoo parlor, and he, starts like freaking out. It's like a seedy tattoo parlor. And he's like, she looks so out of place here. She shouldn't be here. This isn't a place for Annie. And he almost is like, he's like, Annie, let's go. Let's not do this. We don't have to do this. I'll take you to Nashville to like a nice tattoo shop. Like, we don't have to do it here. And she's like, you're treating me like everyone else. You're treating me like I'm fucking too dainty to do this. Just let me get a fucking tattoo. Sit on the couch.
Yeah.
I'm getting this tattoo. Fuck you.
Okay.
So she gets her tattoo, and she gets in, they leave, they get in his truck, and she's like, starts crying, obviously. And he's like,
I was so scared.
why are you crying? And she's like, I'm just so happy. I've never been this happy. I'm so glad you made me do this.
What tattoo did she get?
So she was initially first talking about getting like a bouquet of flowers on her wrist.
Okay.
And so when, after she's done crying in the truck, and he's like, let me see it, she pulls her sleeve down to bare her shoulder, and she got a little book with the
pirate flag?
With the pages
open.
Yeah.
Falling out of it.
Like, like going like this.
Yeah, I get it.
All right.
Open book.
Yeah.
Because she's such an open book.
And he leans over and he
kisses it.
He kisses her arm. And he's
Why'd she
like,
get the book?
Because she loves reading. The pirate smut is like her little secret, just like this tattoo. Don't laugh.
I'm laughing. That's dumb.
Anyway, he leans over and kisses it, and in his perspective, is falling for her hard. He's
already,
like, Jesus,
duh.
This girl, he's like, I'm falling in love with this girl. I'm in too deep already. All right, so another few days later, Amelia lets Will know that she needs him to go to LA with her. They got to do some shit with her, whatever.
But what about Annie?
But what about Annie? I know. So she's like, you better go see Annie if you want to go see her before you're gone for the next few days. And so in the middle of the night, he drives
in the middle of the night.
to her house,
Sexy.
parks his truck, tries to park his truck like farther away from her house. She's in her room reading pirate smut, and she hears like tap, tap, tap on her window.
I mean, hot, romantic,
I know.
hot.
I love, there's
Yeah.
nothing I love more than a guy sneaking into a girl's
I
room.
know you'd like that.
Paul, can I tell you
Because
something?
we went to high school together.
For sure. There was this one book I read where the woman, she was like 32. She lived with her dad for I can't fucking remember. They were like vets on a farm. This was another cowboy romance. And the guy taps on her window and just rails her.
Come to my window.
Oh, I said,
or whatever.
climb in my window and rail me, please.
And then leave.
Yeah. Or hold me into the night.
No, leave.
I want you to stay. I used to want you to leave, but now I want you to stay.
No, you got to leave because my boyfriend's here.
They do need to. Yeah. Anyway, so he comes in her room. She's like, what are you doing here? She opens the window, and he comes in the room, and he sits on her bed, and she's like, oh my God, Will Griffin is sitting in my bed, and he's so fucking hot.
Does she live with people?
She lives with her two sisters,
Oh, okay,
Emily and
okay,
Madison.
okay.
Yeah, they're teachers. I don't know.
Lame.
That didn't mean anything. They're
No,
teachers.
They're teachers. We love a teacher.
So anyway, he sits on her bed and he grabs the book that she was reading and he opens it up and it was like open to a spicy scene. And she's like, stop. She like tries to wrestle him to get it away. She's like, stop,
I
stop.
bet she does.
And then all of a sudden she's straddling him on her,
I was gonna say,
on her bed.
next thing
and
you
it's
know.
not so funny and cute anymore.
Yeah, it's
She's,
sexy.
Yeah, she's straddling him and they are like looking at each other's mouths. Finally, he's like, Annie,
Are you okay?
You're
Are you okay, Annie?
a
I've
virgin.
had to resist doing that so many times.
Annie,
Okay.
are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Oh God, I didn't even do that while I read it. Now I can't get it out of my head.
Every time he like speaks to her directly and says her name, I just want to, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
No, he's like, Annie, you're a virgin, aren't you?
Yeah.
And she was like,
How could
yes.
you tell?
She's like, I'm not saving myself for marriage. I haven't been doing this like necessarily on
I just don't have any
purpose.
game.
I just have not found the right person, and I have no game.
That's the saddest version of a virgin there is.
For sure. It's like you want to have sex.
It's borderline incel, but not as horrifying.
Yeah. So then he's like looking at her, and there's like this long hot moment, and we're just looking at each other, and then he sees her eyeing his tattoos, and like, you know, he's like,
Let me show you the whole thing.
and then he just takes his shirt off and puts it on the bed next to her, and she's straddling him.
Blood, dude.
Flooded. Okay, if you took
It would be
your shirt off,
alarming if yeah.
and you've got tattoos all over, and she can see that.
And
they're
I'm
going on his back, and
straddling,
I'm straddling you.
You're gonna find out how wet I am.
You better fuck me.
Yeah.
Okay. He goes, "Kiss me, Annie, please." He says that. I love when a man.
Love when a man says please. Like,
when a
begs
man
for
says,
it.
when a man begs for it. Jesus fucking Christ, Paul. I can't.
4.5.
4.5.
4.5.
And then it's on and popping. She's like, I'll kiss you.
On your fucking dick.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I was like, yeah, give a blowy.
That's
Let's
pretty
start
advanced for a
Is
virgin.
it
That's advanced
I
for a
thought
virgin.
virgins like did blowjobs and anal.
Not this one.
Okay.
Okay. So they're, kissing, and she says to him, he ends up on his back and she's straddling over him, and she says, I can feel you holding back. Don't hold back. Kiss me fucking harder.
I'd be like,
She doesn't say the F word.
okay, but I'm just like, listen, man, I have to hold back because you're a virgin, and otherwise we're having sex.
Well, and he's like, I'm holding back because I want to fuck you.
Yeah, I want to tear you in half.
So he flips her over, and he's on top of her, and they're making out hard and hot, and that is the extent of
I was
spice.
like, and then one of the sisters knocks on the door because in no way would they not
sure.
have figured. Like, there's a man's voice in here.
He goes to slip his hand under her shirt up her stomach, and she's like, time out.
T. No skin on skin.
She starts to apologize, and he's like, you do
you're
not
fine.
fucking apologize. Like, you're a virgin. You're clearly uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I'm not
consent.
going to make it. I only want you
Yeah.
if you want me, and if you don't want this, that's fine.
Good for him.
Yeah.
he's a
like,
good guy.
Please don't apologize. Don't. You're fine. And so.
But you should let me flick your nipple. I bet you'd like it.
Right. Exactly.
Just letting you know.
Like, I just want you to know you're
That-
missing out.
Yeah, if you let me get where I was going,
You would like
you
it.
would like it, and we wouldn't have to go anywhere.
God, and I would have loved to read that.
Yeah.
So they hold each other and they fall asleep, and he wakes up in her bed
She's gone,
the
and
next
she left
morning.
a note.
And he's like, fuck. He's like, Jesus, I've never slept over with anyone. I leave. And he's like, I am in so deep. This is really bad.
He probably has to pee so bad.
Yeah. He probably has to be. Well, and I'm like, and they don't mention this in this book, but I'm like, also, he's hard. It's morning time. He has morning wood.
Yeah.
But they don't say that. And while he's laying there, he's like, I feel like such a hypocrite, and I feel really bad about my brother.
Well, you shouldn't. You should call him back.
I'm falling in love with this girl, and I don't want to be, and must be what my brother felt like, you know?
Oh, I can only understand emotions when I felt them. Fucking dudes.
Yeah, dude. Dudes suck.
Yeah, it's like, have an imagination.
Right.
I can
you
have
imagine
empathy
it?
for people because I have imagined
Yes.
myself in the worst scenarios.
Imagine it.
Just imagining it. I don't have to live that.
Right. That would be called empathy.
I'll live it in my head.
There you go.
Over and over.
So he leaves, you know, he's like,
Out the window.
goodbye. But he says bye to her. He doesn't, leave her on
Well, yeah.
red or whatever. So he goes to the diner, and Noah's there, her older brother.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ask for her hand in marriage since the father's dead.
sits down like 6 years. Ask for her hand in marriage. Sits like, 2 seats down from Noah.
Yeah.
Noah looks over at him, and he goes, so you spent the night with Annie last night, huh? He was like, how did you know I slept with Annie last night? And he's like, well, town gossip moves pretty fucking quick here.
Yeah, everybody knows everything here.
The sheriff or someone saw your truck and put... Oh, so that's
the horse,
actually,
Maggie the horse, or whatever.
Mabel.
Mabel the horse saw you.
Did you
She
say
told
Maggie?
everybody. I did. Sorry, Maggie.
Actually, while the sheriff was driving to work that morning, saw him coming out of her window and
He said, something's up.
told everybody. So then, in that moment, in walks James, Noah's best friend, who
the
he's
hot
jealous
farmer.
of. Yep. And he's carrying something. He's got a smirk on his face. Now, this is a moment where I'm going to need you to remember this is a small town Hallmark moment.
Is he gonna have a?
He's got a piece of paper and a clipboard in his hand. Noah's still talking to Will, and Noah's like, "I don't care, man. Annie's an adult. I don't give a fuck." Like he's like,
Yeah.
You do you."
I wish she would get laid.
Yeah, he's like, "I like you, Will. Like you protect my fiance."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, no." He's like, I'm here for you."
Am I
guys."
threatened by how hot you are? Yes,
For sure.
yes, I am.
And Will's like, "Thanks, man. I appreciate that." Noah leaves. James puts the clipboard down over by the cash register, and Will gets up to leave and pay, and he looks at it and he's like, what the fuck is this? And it's a town petition in support of Annie and Will breaking up. They're like, we don't think Will's good enough for our Annie. Sign this petition.
Just give me a second, just
Yeah.
to suspend that.
I knew
disbelief
I was like, I
real
don't know how I'm
quick.
going to tell Paul this.
That is the weirdest, creepiest move
Yeah.
I've maybe ever heard of someone doing.
Yep.
That's not hot people activity, and you've described him as hot.
Well, James is just bringing it in. The town
He
had a
didn't
secret...
start it.
No, he didn't start it. The town
I gotta
had
tell you,
the
that's
town
a
had
red flag in this town. This is
For
feeling very
sure.
culty, fucking weird backwoods. Like,
Yeah. They're just scared he's going to hurt our Annie.
ain't none of your fucking business.
Ain't that
I
the
hope
truth?
I do get hurt now because no one wants me to. How dare you?
Yeah. It's
That's
like,
the creepiest
this is-
thing.
yeah.
Who are they going to turn it into? The police?
I don't know. How are they going to...
Sorry,
I don't know.
you guys actually can't date in this county.
Right.
We voted.
I don't know, Paul. I didn't read into it too far. I said, okay. Will's just thinking, this goddamn fucking small town. This is ridiculous. Okay, now he goes to L.A. with Amelia.
A real town.
Uh-huh.
You can really get some of that, hook up booty.
For sure.
This virgin shit.
But he doesn't. Because he's in love with Annie.
Yeah, whatever. He's got his deep-seated issues, obviously.
So while he's in LA, he's texting with Annie and they're texting cute shit, whatever, Meanwhile, word has spread throughout town and Annie's sisters are like, you didn't tell us you were dating the fucking sexiest bodyguard in the world. What the fuck, Annie? She's like, it's all fake. It's all fake. It's for practice. We're not actually dating.
That's the most embarrassing thing you could have said out loud,
She should have kept her mouth shut. She should have said, yes, we are dating.
Can't imagine saying
To your
that.
sibling. And her sisters also kind of they always kind of joke a little bit about her being a virgin.
Well, yeah, I would be relentless if that was my sister.
Relentless.
I'm relentless to my sister now.
Yeah. You're relentless to a lot of people.
It's a handful.
Okay, so while he's away, she's in her flower shop, and in walks a man that she's never seen before, and
She
he's
just
like,
fucks him.
and she's like,
She just
this
goes
guy,
for it.
She right there on the table,
That would be crazy.
closed, flips the sign, locks the door, fucks
Doesn't
this
even
guy.
lock the door.
Oh.
They could walk right in.
She's like,
I'm like, sign this petition, bitch. We're fucking strangers in the street.
for sure. You want to see me be
I can't
real
even
bad?
believe that. The
Yeah.
audacity.
The audacity of the town.
Ay, ay, ay.
I was like reading that. I was like,
Like, this
Paul's-
town doesn't own me.
I was like, Paul's not gonna like this.
Yeah.
So she's like, this guy's attractive, and so she starts talking to this guy. She's like, maybe, you know, she's like, I'm feeling things for Will. We're having, you know, he was in my bed.
This is a recipe for heartbreak.
It is a recipe for heartbreak. She was like, I've got to get this thing out of my head for Will because he keeps telling me he's not a relationship guy. He doesn't believe in love, and I'm falling for him. So maybe it's time to put this practice to use. I'm going to flirt with this guy that just came in my shop.
Mm-hmm.
And they have some moments, and he's like, yeah, I'm new in town. I'm a vet, and I just moved back. And he's like, here's my number. And she's like, I got to be honest with you. I'm not looking for something casual. And he's like, neither am I.
It's a crazy thing to say while giving someone your number.
Well, she's like, I hope this guy doesn't want to give me his number and thinks I'm just going to a booty call. I'm going to be up and honest with him and be like, I'm looking for a serious relationship right now.
Yeah.
But
that's a little dinner conversation.
For sure. You know what, Paul?
You know,
it is.
Have him take you to dinner because apparently that's what we're doing with our hookups now.
Uh-huh.
And then during conversation reveal,
say that.
Hey,
yeah,
I'm a virgin. So if that didn't already make you fucking run away like it should,
sure.
Then let me tell you the rest.
Mm-hmm. So she keeps that in her back pocket. You know, maybe she'll call him. Maybe she'll text him and set up a date.
Yeah, maybe they'll get married.
Maybe they'll get married, and not her and Will.
Yeah.
Okay, so once Will's back, a few days later, they all go out to the bar. Her sisters, her brother, Amelia, Will, everybody. Amelia's like, you got the night off, Will. Just sit next to Annie. Just sit down, have a drink with us. You're not
sounds like I don't have the
bodyguarding,
night
you
off
know?
if you're telling me where I'm going to sit.
Bitch.
Yeah.
He sits next to Annie, and they're like touching each other, brushing each other. And then all of a sudden, Annie's like turns to him, and she's like, I don't know what compels me, but I just grab him and start making out with him.
What about the petition?
At the table, at the bar, in front of everybody, her brothers, her sisters, making out with Will.
Good for her. That's so rude and uncomfortable, but good for her.
Good for her. She like pulls away, and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah,
What?
chubbed up.
Yeah, no shit. Then in that moment, she looks over to the bar, and she sees John, that asshole from the date that ditched her in the beginning of the book.
And she said, you see this?
And Will turns to look at who she's looking at.
Oh, no.
And he sees
Bar
John as well.
Bar fight. Roundhouse.
No bar fight.
God, I just want this book to be better.
Now there's a misunderstanding on Will's part. He's like,
Oh, she's doing that to get John jealous because she really wants John, and I'm just a piece of meat that's unlovable.
Yep.
I do see where they get... I am broken, so I can be broken like them.
See? You got it.
Yeah.
So he's upset. And Annie's like, no, that's not what it was. So for the next few days...
It was a convenient bonus to
For
us
sure.
making out that
For
it
sure.
made him look like an idiot.
Yeah, because he gets up in that moment, he gets pissed, and he walks over to the bar, and John's like, are you with her? Are you with Annie? And he's like,
None of your business.
no, it's not anything serious. I'm going to leave in town in a couple
I'm just
weeks.
deflowering and then I'm out.
Uh-huh. And John's like, shit, I must have underestimated her. Says that out loud to Will. And Will is like,
What is
this
he's like?
fucking
He's
prick.
doing like man math, where he's like, if this guy that's hotter and tougher than me
Just
is into
made-
that girl, then
and
that
just
means
made out.
that,
Uh-huh.
and he would do her, then
Yep.
I should do her.
Yep.
So then
Man
I'll
math.
be a man like him.
Yep.
Ugh.
I know,
Man
gross.
math. Disgusting.
Fucker. Will avoids Annie for the next few days.
That's gonna be heartbreaking for her.
They kind of avoid each other. They're not texting each other.
Why's she avoiding?
She's just like,
Picking up what he's putting down.
yeah, feeling the vibe.
Good for her. It seems like she doesn't do that a lot.
He's upset because he
thought he was being
He's like, this
used.
was real, but she was just fucking doing it for show, whatever. But then Amelia tells, sorry. Amelia tells John. Yeah. I mean, Amelia tells Will.
Yeah.
Hey, I know you haven't talked to Annie in like a few days, but she's like deathly ill, and her sisters are out of town. They're in Vegas because they're at summer vacation. You know, they're not teaching, so she's like at home alone, sick as a dog, and she won't let anybody help her. or
Well,
whatever.
deathly like she got a cold.
Like the flu, like she's
Okay.
laid out.
Okay.
She's laid the fuck out. And he's like, what? So immediately he's like, fuck, I wish Annie would have told me she was sick. So he goes to the store, buys her all this stuff. Mabel is there, and Mabel's like, oh, are you going to go check in on our sick Annie? And he's like, yes. And she's like, let me give you my recipe for my chicken soup, whatever.
And
make
then I'll
it for
give you,
her.
you can write on my back.
So he gets to her house, knocks on her door, and like she doesn't answer. Meanwhile, she's like made it to the kitchen, drank some water, and she's like, I want to lay down on the tile for a second
Yeah, I've
in
been
her
there.
kitchen, you know? So he walks in, he's like, Annie, it's me. He sees her laying on the kitchen floor, and he's like,
She's
Jesus
dead.
Christ.
She's dead.
And she's got like a gnarly fever and all this stuff. So he's like,
You better wear a
and she's
mask.
just, by the way, she's just in a t-shirt and underwear. So he's seeing her ass and shit.
I know, but
Whoa.
not hot.
No.
Not in a hot way.
No. So he's like, I'm going to take you to the doctor. He gets her dressed, takes her to the doctor, brings her home, picks up her prescription, lays her on the couch, tucks her in, and he's cooking Mabel's famous chicken noodle soup for her on the stove.
Right.
He's just being so sweet. He sits on the couch and he like puts her head in his lap and is like playing with her hair, and finally opens up about his childhood, about his mom and dad, how they were cheating on each other and they would have screaming matches, and he had to like protect his little brother from hearing it, and all trauma dumping.
Yeah. But then her fever was so high that she doesn't remember any of it the next day. She just thinks it all was a fever dream.
I mean, I can see that happening, but it doesn't. So she's like, will you stay with me tonight, and will you take me to bed? And he's like, of course.
Will you bed me down?
Right now while I'm sick of the dog.
Ew, gross.
So he carries her to bed and holds her all night and just like was playing with her
Wow.
hair, and like he's just in so deep. He's never wanted to take care of
It feels like he
someone
was
this
almost never not in deep.
way. Right.
Like the second it was presented.
Yeah.
But that's love.
The next morning they wake up and she's he's holding her, and she's like, do you have feelings for me, Will?
Will, what are we?
And he's like, I do have feelings for you. I have to be honest with you.
I've tried so hard not to.
Exactly, Paul. But I do.
But I do.
And he's like, do you have feelings for me too?
Yeah,
and she's like, of course, I do.
I like you back.
I like you.
I like you. And I think you like me.
I really like you. And he's like, what do we do about this?
Fuck.
And she's like, we just stay friends and we pine after each other, and then you leave. And
Sweet.
that's what we do.
What a really cool plan.
I know.
Weak.
Fuck that. And she's like, I know you don't want love. I know you don't want a relationship, and you know that that's what I do want. So we're just going to have to pine after each other and then call it quits. I was like,
Why don't we call it quits right now
Boom.
then? End the book.
She gets a text message on her phone
Oh, on her phone.
from the... on her phone, if you could believe it. It's from the guy from the flower shop.
Oh, almost forgot about him.
And it says,
Let's get married.
hey, just confirming we're still on our date for our
Will
date for
sees
tomorrow.
it.
And Will sees it. And
Well, we just said we had feelings for each other.
well, exactly. He's like, I'm happy for you. Like this practice wasn't for anything, wasn't for nothing. So good for you. I'm glad that you had the initiative to do that. He's like, I'm leaving soon anyway. So, and they're both heartbroken, obviously.
Yeah.
So the guy, Brandon, is like, hey, let's go on a date to my nephew's Little League game.
Hot.
It's a no for me.
Yeah, no thanks.
It's like, we get it, you're a family guy.
Yeah, I was like, we're really leaning into like, let's just start a family, get married, and do couple
For
shit.
sure.
If that's what you're trying to tell me.
So
to
she
do.
goes on the date. She's sitting in the bleachers. She can see Amelia and Will.
Amelia's a little trifling hoe.
Amelia's
I'll
got,
tell you that right
they both
now.
got wigs on, sunglasses, and Amelia has like a fake mustache
Oh,
on.
I like her. I mean, I like trifling hoes. I am one myself.
Exactly.
But obviously,
And
she's
Will's
like
got a hat on,
manipulating
and
stuff.
they're there to crash her date.
Obviously.
Yes, which I love.
I do love that. That's really
hilarious.
funny.
It was really funny.
I love to crash a date.
Yep, it was really funny. So they sit down, like fucking next to them. Like Annie's arm is touching Will, and Brandon's right here.
I mean, that's rough for Brandon.
And they introduce themselves, and Brandon's like, that's a chick with a fake mustache, right? And she's like, yeah, I think so.
I would have been like, this is my sister-in-law, and she's fucking with us.
For sure.
And this is her bodyguard.
And this is her bodyguard, who I am
Well, actually, though,
madly in love
it would be
with.
kind of hard to explain why does your sister-in-law have a bodyguard? You're like, this is obviously the famous Amelia
Rose, yeah.
Amelia Rose.
She goes by Ray Rose.
Okay.
Okay. So finally, Annie's like, "Will you excuse me? I'm gonna go get something to drink," and like goes to the concession stand, and Will follows her, and Will's like,
Let's make out.
or she is like, "Get the fuck out of." She's like, "What are you doing here, Will? Get out of here."
Yeah.
Will is like, "That guy is boring as fuck. I just want you to know." And she's like, "It's not fair for you to tell me that you have feelings for me, but that you can't act on them, and then crash my date. So please leave."
Yeah.
You know, not cool, dude.
Love me or
Love me
get
or
off the
don't.
pot.
Uh-huh. Love me or get off the pot.
You know.
And so he's like, "All right, I'm sorry." So Amelia and him leave, and Annie to Brandon is like, I'm
You're
not
really
feeling
boring.
I'm not feeling a love connection here. And Brandon's like, "I'm not either, but like, you know, I'm new to town, so like, and I do need friends, so like, if you want to just hang and watch the game, and maybe we can eat, just hang out." And they do. They have a nice time. They talk now that they've, you know, have told each other they don't like each other like that. Whatever.
Well, that's how you know this book's fiction. Men
Yeah,
and women can't be friends.
for sure. Well, and he would have been like, "All right, bye."
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess like if he was fully not feeling a vibe, I could see him being like, "Yeah, let's just finish the date.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna just like storm out now."
for sure.
But if he was feeling a vibe, that'd be so.
Well, and then
uncomfortable.
she has a thought to herself. She's like, "See, John, this is how you behave when
Yeah, when you're not interested,
you're not interested. You don't
just,
have to get a fake phone call." Like, you
Well,
could
yeah,
just,
but that's
you know,
because like obviously John's.
an immature fucking prick.
Well, it's like he went on that date to fuck.
Yes,
So
he
it's
did.
like I'm here to do one thing
Right.
versus this guy was like I'm here just to have a date.
Yes, and
however
I'm not a
that
scumbag.
However that may be. Mm-hmm. That's why you shouldn't fucking go to dinner with your hookups.
Yeah,
You just fuck them.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to do that, then you don't do that. It's not complicated.
why are you making it so
Yeah,
complicated?
why are we complicating this with a meal?
Yeah,
I like to eat alone.
I don't like to eat in front of people. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I
And
do.
like,
I
I mean,
love to-
you, but not in this.
No.
like not a like eating in front of a romantic person. I'm like, because I'm a slob. You know what I'm saying?
You don't say.
So
This is news to me.
So I don't want to eat in front of a romantic prospect.
Dude, I used to, like, when I was, like, dating,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Yeah.
potentially dating people, I would always take them to Wyman's, like, deep dish place up the road,
Yeah.
which is,
That's
like,
not sexy food.
it's, like, cool because it's, like, a casual bar and we can just, like, go and hang out, but then, like, trying to, like, not eat fucking deep dish Chicago fucking pizza in front of someone and just not be, like, slapping your face with cheese
Sure.
and
Might
just,
as well
like,
be eating
all,
wings.
yeah. Well, and we would get wings sometimes, too.
Yeah, don't want to eat in front of a romantic partner.
No.
So that night, Annie goes home and she calls Will and she's like, "Will, will you come over and stay the night with me?" And he's like, "Of course."
Bed me down.
And they just sleep in each other's arms. And it's like, what are you doing? You're torturing each other. You're fucking torturing each
Yeah,
other.
at this point, and I get it. The pleasure's coming from the torture.
Yeah.
Like you're getting
for
off
sure.
on not being able to be together, but being in this limbo,
Right,
which
right.
it's like that is fun for a while, but goddamn,
Yeah, I'm like, just rip it off.
yeah,
So he wakes up at like 4 a.m. and he like sneaks out and he goes for a run. And he ends up back at his place at Mabel's Inn. Mm-hmm. And he finally decides to call his brother and apologize.
okay.
Thank God. Because he
Thank
was such a
God.
prick to his brother.
Well, yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, dude, I'm really fucking sorry. Like, I shouldn't have done that." And he's like, "How did you know that girl was the one for you?" Mm-hmm. And his brother is just like,
She's
when
the
I
one
knew
thought
when I
about.
didn't want to, like, the fear of not having her was outweighed the fear of like a shitty marriage or all the issues that we have.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I knew I couldn't be without her.
Yeah, it would be worth it to be with her now, even if things
Yes.
turned south.
Exactly. And so his brother's like, "Did you meet someone? Why are you asking me this?"
Yeah, it's been 3 weeks. Why
3
are you
weeks.
calling me to apologize all of a sudden?
Will says yes and tells him all about Annie. And then admits out loud, he says, "I'm in love with her."
Yeah. And his brother says, "Go to her. Run to her now
Run to
and
her
tell
now."
her."
So for the next 3 days, and I'm like, how are y'all going to avoid each other when you're down to like your last 9 days.
Yeah.
And you're going to avoid each other for 3 of them?
You feel like they'd be like
Idiots.
stuck together. Like
I would
You
be.
know, I would be
I'd be
too.
like, you're not leaving my fucking side.
Yeah.
And you're taking my virginity.
Oh,
We're fucking.
you're taking my virginity
Day
several
one.
times.
Yes. Several times.
Several kinds.
Ooh,
you know.
Yes. Mouth. Virginity.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be 9 days of first.
Yes. Oh, and I like that game. I like the game of firsts. Remember the
do,
director?
yeah.
So she texts him like, "You're avoiding me, aren't you?" And he's like, "You're avoiding me, aren't you?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yeah." And then he goes, "But I miss you." She's like, "I miss you too."
I miss you. I love you. I miss
So
you.
Annie goes to see her grandmother, who like raised her when her parents died when she was 3. Her grandmother has Alzheimer's and is in the old folks home and doesn't like really know who she is. It's very sad.
Oh,
And
okay.
so Mabel's there.
Reliable horse.
Pulse just Mabel grabs her and they're sitting in the dining room at the old folks home and Mabel is like,
No. Okay, I'm done.
"Are you done?"
Yeah, I think that
Did
really.
you get it
I
out
think
of your
that
system?
was it. Yeah, I
Okay.
neighed. Okay.
Thank you. And Mabel had overheard Will talking to his brother. Mabel
So I mean, you know
heard.
what? Mabel has fucking known the tea and like pulled the strings quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mabel was like, "Oh, so Will's in love with Annie."
It's like Mabel and Amelia
Yes.
are
They really and I haven't even mentioned
controlling these people.
they have been. So Mabel tells Annie, "Don't give up on Will. I don't
Yeah.
think you should give up on Will."
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yes. Your
Ew.
face.
Ew, I hated it.
Mabel tells Annie, "Listen, maybe you guys don't have a traditional relationship. Maybe you don't need to get married right now, Annie. Just planting these seeds."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe you've just been tricked by this like heteronormative society that we're in,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
patriarchy.
Yep. So maybe you should just fuck Will.
Yeah. So maybe you should just fuck.
Just fuck Annie.
Yeah, you'll be like a lot more likable
Yeah.
if you could just do that.
And you might have a good time.
Yeah.
Especially
Loosen
with
you up.
Will. And Will knows, I have a feeling Will knows how to work.
Yeah, he hooks up
pussy.
with people. You know?
Yeah.
I bet he does.
So now here we are, 2 nights before the wedding. And Annie is so sad. She's like, this means Will's leaving like the day after the wedding.
Well, you're wasting time.
I
Only
know.
person you have to be
right?
sad at is yourself.
Jesus Christ. Fucking then go to him.
Yeah.
So she finally lays everything on the table to her sisters. One night they're having a hangout, whatever.
Girls' night.
And someone says something snarky about her being a virgin or something. And she is like, "Stop fucking belittling me. Stop."
Oh, great. The virgin standing up for herself.
Such a dick.
I know.
Did you have anything else?
No. I'll be fine.
She's like, "Stop belittling me. Stop calling me Angel Annie." She's like, "I can't always be sunny and happy for you guys. Like, also, I'm in love with Will and I don't know what to do about it."
I'd be like, if you think that I think you're sunny and happy all the time, I don't. I'm sad for you.
Yeah.
Your weird virgin lameness. No riz. Can't pull nothing.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry. That's how I show love to my siblings. This is what we do. We're mean to each other as support.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. I'll neg you out of doing the bad thing.
There you go. Yeah.
That's all I can. That's all I can do.
That's all I can do.
That's all I can do.
You're cracking me up today. Good. So then they're like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. We did not mean to belittle you. We'll stop being cunts, whatever." And then Amelia's like, "Hey, the reason Will didn't tell you, but like the reason you haven't really seen him in the last few days is because some fucking stalker tried to find me the other day at our house."
So he had to do his
And
fucking
so he
job.
had to do his job and he got a little fucked up in the process.
What
of
is
it.
this? Where like things keep happening to people in secret, you know, like she gets all sick and he doesn't know, like he doesn't tell her that he got beat up by the stalker. Like
Yeah.
in small towns, you fucking know.
You would have known.
You would have known.
For sure. So Annie's like, "Oh fuck, really?" And she's like, "Yeah, he's at the inn right now. I mean, he's fine. Like he's got bruises on his face and he like fell and then landed on a rock and got a gnarly slash and had to get stitches or whatever on his arm.
I bet he looks hot.
Hot as
All
fuck.
bandaged up, all hurt. Ooh.
A bruise on your eye?
Oh my god, yeah.
Bad boy.
Oh my god, yeah, bruise on your eye. Fucking fuck me.
Nail me to
Eat me
the bed.
out.
Yeah.
I'll be gentle, make sure to not hurt you while you pound away.
So Annie's like, "Fuck, I'm gonna go to him."
Yeah.
So she's like in her like a little camisole and like short shorts.
Oh, so she just ran out of the front door when
grabs
she
her
heard
keys.
this.
Yep.
Okay.
Runs.
Okay.
Drives to him. Gets to the inn. The doors, it's unlocked.
Yes, yeah.
So she,
it's
like-
old Mabel's Inn.
Gets into Will's room, and he's just come out of the shower, and he's wrapped in a towel.
was
Hot.
the V.
Paul, the V, and then the hair.
Oh yeah,
The happy
yeah,
trail.
Yeah, to that boosh.
That happy trail is just like, it does it for me. And so she comes crashing into the room and she's like, you know what, Will? You are not avoiding me. You're trying to fucking phase me out. It's 2 days before the wedding.
Yeah.
You're trying to phase me out. And
You're
gonna
pre-breaking up. You're trying to
exactly.
getting over me.
Exactly. You're pre-getting over me. And you know what? I'm not going to fucking let you.
Yeah.
I've never felt this way about anyone in my entire life. I feel something for you and you feel something for me. And I'm not going to let you phase us out. In that moment, he's like, are you done? Like, she's like breathless.
Yeah.
She, says this whole speech is a lot longer than what I just said, but whatever. He's like, are you done? And she's like, yes,
Gets down
I'm
on
done.
one knee.
Towel falls off his body.
Oh, dick.
And she's
Swung, rock
Yes.
hard, let's go.
She's looking, and he also has a fucking thigh tattoo.
Hot.
Paul,
But
if a man has a thigh
Okay,
tattoo, Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
But so he only has the arm tattoo that goes like
Well,
up the
it's
arm.
all
like
the arm
all
goes over here, and it goes onto
his back, and then he has a thigh
thigh
tattoo.
tattoo.
He's not that tatted up.
No,
you
not.
know.
But if
He's, I guess small town tatted
I'll
up.
ride that thigh tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
is what I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he like puts the towel back on, and she's like, Jesus, Will, how are you so fucking hot?
Yeah.
Why are you so hot?
Yeah. Whip it out.
Yeah. She's like, oh my God.
Yeah. Do you want to see a nip?
And then
I'll
he's-
flash a tit.
Yeah, dude.
I'll flash a tit if you drop that towel.
I would have been.
Well, yeah. You're whore ass. Are you kidding me?
Anyway. So he's like, you can open your eyes now. I've covered myself up. And so then he's
I'm
like,
decent.
He's like, yeah, I'm decent. He's like, you know what? You're right. I was phasing us out. I feel so fucking strongly for you, and it scares me shitless. And I'm so sorry, but thank you for chasing me. Thank you for coming after me.
Oh, you make me feel like a lady.
And then she's like, okay, yeah. And then they look at each other.
Okay, I'll just take off then.
Yeah, and then they look at each other, and like the air's crackling and sizzling and all this stuff. And he's like, you should probably go now. And
Or I'm
she's
gonna
like,
fuck you.
and she looks at him and she's like, probably, yeah. And then she walks over to him and she's like, I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving. What's that fucking Wolf of Wall Street? I'm not leaving.
Yes, that is Wolf of Wall Street. And then she puts her hands on his towel right above his dick.
Yeah.
Where it's...
I know where it is.
You picture
I'm
it?
familiar.
Yep. He's like, like holds her and he's like, I want you to be as comfortable as you want. We only go as far as you want.
Yeah.
We can stop anytime
Yeah.
you tell me. And then he like shoves her up, pushes her up against the door and starts making out with her. And then she
Epilogue now.
loses her virginity.
Good
And-
for her. Does she like it?
I'm telling you, so there's like no spice in this book,
Yeah.
I mean, the makeout sessions are hot.
Yeah, but that's very PG.
It's
make
this
out,
book is PG.
You know,
This is a
yeah.
PG
yeah,
book.
Yeah.
It's not
the
PG-13.
climax, literal climax, is sex.
Yes. Well, here, this is how short. You want to see her losing her virginity, Paul?
I mean, that's about as
It's
quick as
up
it
age.
happened for me too.
Me too.
So-
oh God. Anyway, so I'm gonna read you a little bit
Okay.
about her. So this is the spice. I hop up and Will catches me as I wrap my legs around his waist. His mouth explores mine in deep, hot caresses. And before I know it, I'm back. My back is landing gently on the mattress. God, he's so hot, though. I try to just think about how hot he is. Anyway, I scoot up to the pillow, noticing that it smells like Will.
Oh my god.
By the way,
that's so
dude,
hot. That is so hot.
Every single book, I don't really talk about it, but every single book, there's a moment when they're
Obscenity
having
stuff.
sex and the pillows smell like him, or the shirt smells like him.
The shirt, I remember always being like, leave a shirt here.
Oh, I am wet for
So,
that.
yeah.
Anyway, I scoot up to the pillows, noticing that it smells like Will, a crisp, clean scent. He climbs over me and presses his mouth onto mine, coaxing, and so sensual I'm drunk and dazed. It doesn't take long for us to lose every stitch of clothing, and when we are skin to skin, I should feel scared, terrified. Instead, the tops of Will's bare shoulders are backlit by the moon, and I study the shape of his muscles as they shift and flex. Hot.
By the moon.
Moonlight coming
werewolf.
in. Yeah, he just turns into a werewolf.
Oh my god, it's that kind of book.
I'm relaxed and safe and joyful and completely in awe of the way his body moves with confident ease. How his
This dude
hands... This dude fucks.
This dude fucks.
And she's so lucky to lose her virginity to a
For
guy
real.
who fucks.
For real. For real.
Lucky her.
Lucky her. It's not a like 17-year-old and you're both like,
Right.
you know,
Jesus
in the back
Christ.
of the church camp.
How his hands glide over me with tender care and expert precision. And for the rest of the night, we get lost in the sheets, and Will teaches me things I never knew I needed to learn. I know.
Lost in the sheets is a fun way to
Isn't
say
it?
it.
Right?
Oh, we're going to get lost in the sheets.
Ooh, I want to get one. I know for the rest of my life, I'll remember this night with Will in this room. I'll remember the flashes of dark eyes and hands pressed into the mattress beside my face, his forearms flexing and our bodies together. I'll remember the taste of sweat and the smell of body wash and the warmth of our shower that we shared
Old
around
Spice.
2 a.m. Will pulls me back against his chest, wrapping his arm tightly around my body just to hold me, and I don't think anything could be more perfect. And that was her losing her virginity. Okay, next morning, they are walking to the diner, and they see, like, everybody in town in a shop next to the diner, and
And
they're
they're
like,
all signing a petition.
they're like, Annie gets pissed. She's like, they're fucking in there talking about me and you, and she's like,
not today.
not
I'm not a
today.
virgin anymore.
So she like flat runs into the thing. Will like sits down next to Noah and Amelia, and Annie walks up to the front, and Annie's like, you should all be ashamed of yourselves for trying to petition me and Will to break up. I'm a grown-ass woman. I can date whoever I want. And someone, like, hands her something, and she reads it, and she's like, what? You've all voted in favor of me and Will being
Oh,
together?
well, now I'm okay.
There's 0 votes for nay, and all of you are yay?
I don't give a fuck about these votes.
So she's like, oh, that's... And everyone in the town's like, yeah, Annie, we want you to be happy. We want... Will's good for you. We like Will.
Okay, well, now I'm breaking up with
We approve
Will.
of Will. Jesus, you would.
Yeah, look what you've done to me, town.
fucking
Now
would.
I'm never speaking to this man again.
Now we're at the rehearsal dinners, like the next day or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the rehearsal dinner. She sees Will, they're dressed up, and he's officially off the clock for good. He's done.
Forever? He's
Yeah.
never gonna bodyguard her again?
The new bodyguard is there. So he's like, there's the new one.
Is the new one hot too?
It's a woman.
Oh, well.
No. I mean,
No.
they don't describe her. I don't picture
you don't
her
know.
hot.
Okay, all right.
I picture her as Sandra Bullock in Miss
Perfect.
Congeniality before she gets
got
the
hot,
makeover.
yeah.
Yeah. Annie's panicking. You know, she's like, she's like, oh my God.
Sounds like you're moving to LA,
leaving."
bitch.
The plan was for him to go to DC after this to protect
Sounds like
a
you're moving to
politician.
DC.
I know, right? And she's like, I know this is goodbye, you know, but Will changes the subject, and they do the rehearsal dinner, and then that night he sneaks in her room. And
Why
they
are we
make,
sneaking?
And they make love again. I don't know why. Because it's fun.
Well, it's hot.
Because it's
Yeah,
fun.
that's true.
Honestly, it's
It
'cause
is
it's fun.
hot.
And they make love. He's gone by the time she wakes up.
And they never see each other again?
Also, like after they made love and they were like laying in bed,
She's pregnant.
she tried to first time.
First time.
That would suck.
Everyone knows. Virgins
Right.
are so fertile.
Is that true?
No, I don't. I have no fucking idea. I'm just saying that. What?
So she keeps being like, "Is this it? We're never going to see you
Yeah.
again." But he always changed the subject. He would never say anything. Anyway, so then he's gone when she wakes up.
But is that because he has like a fun little surprise that he's not leaving, or is it because he's heartbroken?
Right. When she wakes up and realizes he's gone, she's like analyzing everything that just happened, and she's like,
He used me. That's sick. Sorry.
"Sorry." Don't apologize.
Well, it's just, you know.
I get it. Well, it's just
Why am I like this?
She's like, the way he made love to me last night and the way he like kept changing the subject and won't talk about it, that was him saying goodbye.
Oh.
Like, I'm not going to see him at the wedding tonight. Then she finds out he's already checked out of the inn.
Because he bought a house.
So she's like, I can't believe
Because
this.
he signed a lease. I don't know what he's going to do for work now that Sandra Bullock's here, but
Right? So she's getting dressed with the ladies,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the men are getting dressed, and she goes to see her big brother, Noah. He's like, I'm sorry Will left without saying goodbye. She's like, it's whatever. We weren't really dating, you know,
Yeah,
it was all for a show. And
we
he's
were
like,
just fucking.
he's like, bullshit, Annie. Don't fucking pretend. He's like, I know you're in love with him, and I know he was in love with you. And, you know, I'm sorry that he's gone.
Yeah.
And Annie's like, I couldn't ask him to stay. I couldn't ask him to change who he is. He'd end up resenting me for the rest of our lives for that. I had to let him go. And then Noah says to Annie, well, maybe he was waiting for an invitation to stay.
Yeah,
maybe
you
you
need
should
to
have
give him a
asked.
reason to stay.
So then the wedding takes place. It's beautiful. It's emotional. And Annie is just like longing for Will. And he's not there.
Just have a piece of cake and calm down.
Chill out. She's also thinking to herself as this is taking place. She's like, I know I want marriage. I know I want a partner. I know I want to do that. But I wish I hadn't put marriage on this pedestal for so long. It's not like that's the end all be all.
Yeah.
She's like, just having a partner there by my side is...
It's kind of fun, just like a funny little thing that we humans made up.
It is a made up thing. So it's the end of the night of the wedding. You know, she's danced. She's like, I gotta go. I can't. I'm done with this. I'm ready to go home. Gonna read you a little thing.
Oh my God, is Will gonna show up?
It almost feels wrong to get into my old truck dressed so elegantly, yet somehow it's exactly right. But when I put my hand on the truck's door handle, a familiar, playful, and roguish voice sounds in my ear, and a hand with a butterfly tattoo reaches out over my shoulder to push my door closed. It's me, and you're safe. I'm gonna put a blindfold on you now. A thin strip of black cloth covers my eyes.
See, I want this to be like, I'm about to fucking take you to a warehouse and fucking strap you down and fucking
ravish.
But I know this is going to be a like, I'm going to take you to the house I bought for us to live in or something.
Hold on.
Just guessing.
Okay. Will, what are you doing? Yes, it's me, Will, he says quietly, and then clears his throat and speaks more firmly. Theatrically, and definitely with more baritone. But also no, I'm not Will. My name is Captain Blackheart, and you, my lady, are being kidnapped.
We're pirate shipping.
Hot.
We're pirate shipping this bitch.
If someone came up to me, put a blindfold on me, and said, you're being kidnapped, and by someone I mean my boyfriend.
I was going to say, literally, I think you do mean anyone. Well, keep that blindfold on, and they are anyone.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm. Anyone. And
that's
I have
the principle
someone
of a glory hole, really.
I have someone in mind. But anyway, I'd be like, yes.
Yeah.
You fucking kidnapped me, dude.
Yeah.
And you
take me away.
I ain't playing.
I ain't playing. I'm not trying to come back.
Right. So they get in the truck, and she's like, okay, pause. Can we pause for a second? And
tea.
And he's like, yeah. And she's like, whose truck am I in? Why are you here? How are you here? And he's like, well, this is my truck. I bought it because, because
I live here now.
If you live in Rome, you have to drive a truck.
I hate that she changed him.
He's like, I texted you. I told you I couldn't make it to the wedding. And she's like, what? And he goes, yeah, here, look at my phone. And she's like, there's a red exclamation point. It never was delivered, dude. I thought you fucking ditched me. They have really shitty reception in Rome.
Small town.
Kentucky, yeah. So he's like...
But he didn't see that? Shut up, idiot.
He must have just texted and then got out of it. I don't fucking know. Whatever.
I know, but then if I was like, oh, you never text me back, and then I went to show you, I'd be like, oh. I'm not an idiot.
Right.
So I can see what happened.
Uh-huh. He's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I didn't mean to panic you. I'm sorry you've been so sad all day. He's like, I would never, ever leave you without saying goodbye to you. And then she's like, okay, time in. And puts the blindfold back on.
Matey, let's go.
Right. He hauls her out of the truck and walks inside and sets her down. And she's in a house.
Inside a house. I know this is where this is going.
And there's candles twinkling everywhere, flowers. Hold your horses, because I know where you're. Paul, chill.
What?
Chill for a second.
I'm not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere. And she's like, oh my God, whatever, like, oh my God, what's happening? So I'm going to read you just a little bit more. I couldn't make it to the wedding today because the trademark of every good romance novel is a grand gesture, and I wanted to give you one. Annabelle, I need you to know I've fallen madly in love with you. She goes, but you don't believe in love. He goes, it was easier to say I don't believe in love rather than admitting to myself that I was afraid I couldn't be loved back. I splay my hand over his chest. Heartbreaking, Will. It's impossible not to love you.
Heartbreaking, Will.
So she says, I love you. He says, I love you. Then he is like, I know how important marriage is to you. And he proposes to her, and he says the cutest things, blah, blah, blah.
And she says no.
She starts laughing and shaking her. She's like, absolutely not. I will not marry you.
Yeah, we've, started
known each
fooling
other?
Around for 3 weeks.
Uh-huh. I've known you for 4. She's like, I know that you have reservations about marriage, and I would never ask you to jump into something like that. Plus, I'm just now discovering who I am, and if
I'm not trying to get tied down.
Things I really want. I'm not trying to get tied down.
Yeah, you're my first, not my last.
She's like, I'd like to, explore this before I get married. And she's like looking around, and he's like, all right, so I guess you won't marry me then. She's looking around, and she's like, whose house is this, by the way?
Our house.
He's like, this is mine. I quit my job. Oh, I forgot to kind of tell you something that's really not important, but like throughout the book, like we realize like he, in an attempt to like get his parents to like love him and like stop being such an asshole to him and his brother, he was an overachiever in high school.
Yeah.
He was really fucking smart, and he was accepted into MIT, but he never went.
Okay.
He joined the Air Force instead.
Okay.
And you know, at one point, Annie was like, "Do you regret not going to MIT?" And he's like, "Well, I was really fucking good at math, and I kind of wanted to explore that. I wanted to, you know, get into that."
Well, whatever. You get those, like, go back to school loans through the military, so
for sure.
he's fine.
And so he was like, "This is my house. I bought this house. I quit my job. I'm moving here, and I've been accepted into this college, and I'm going to
University
get my degree.
of Phoenix.
University of
Get it
Phoenix.
online.
University of What? Yep.
Of the North Hemisphere.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, I'd like to do that, and I'd like to become a teacher. And they're both giddy, and they're like, let's just be together. Let's just be a couple. And he has made this bed in the middle of the room, and he carries her to bed, and he lays her down, and they make love. Epilogue. 1 year later.
Okay. Pregnant, barefoot pregnant, fucking
Not this book.
married. Okay.
They're in Paris.
Oh, Perry?
They've been traveling and having adventures, because one thing he said to her
Why
in the
did they
book,
actually go to Rome?
yeah.
Why don't they try that out?
Maybe they do. He's like, I want to take you on adventures. I want you to travel the world with me. So here we are. They're doing it. So they're in Paris. It's a year later.
Beautiful.
They're crazy in love. They have moved in together into that house back in Rome,
Well, you can't be
Kentucky.
living with your sisters.
He asks her to marry him like once a week, and she always says no.
Oh, but she's about to say yes.
Never says no.
The epilogue is her saying yes.
But she tells him, "Don't stop asking me."
Yeah.
Even though I keep saying, "Don't."
I love the chase.
Yeah, it's like me. It's like, don't stop inviting me. Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
don't
say
stop.
no,
I'm never going.
But just don't stop inviting me.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll never stop asking you. And then we do get a little bit of a light sex scene in the
Heavy
epilogue.
petting.
Would you like me to read it to you?
Yeah.
Then I get a display of Will Griffin, the dangerous bodyguard, even though I use all my strength to keep his hands restrained above his head, which, ooh, I'm into that. He easily breaks them free and flips me over in one swift motion until we're the mirror image of a moment ago. My hands above my head and his butterfly hand pinning my wrists gently in place. He looks down at me, eyes devouring my body, in the way I'm stretched under him, the hem of my oversized t-shirt riding up my hip. His eyes say he's planning on pulling them off with his teeth. Chills erupt over my skin while somehow this is as spicy as the book gets.
Okay.
This
is the
letting you know. Oh, chills erupt over my skin while somehow simultaneously heating my body to the temperature of the sun. I'm feverish. Heaven help me.
Heaven help me. Goodness gracious.
I want him. I'll never stop wanting him, no matter how many times we do this. Kiss me, Will, please.
Kiss.
I say, catching his gaze once again and mimicking the words he said to me all those nights ago in my room. And he does. He leans over and his mouth takes mine in a deep, hot, intimate kiss that nearly destroys me. His free hand bunches up my shirt in his fist, dragging it up over my head and off my body. He curses under his breath at the sight of me, as if this is the first time he's seeing me topless.
Damn.
And it makes me smile. The kiss that started at my mouth veers, traversing my neck and collarbone, breasts and ribs and stomach. Breath. This is the first time we're saying breath.
Oh, this is the first time we're saying breasts.
This is PG, dude. My hand moves to grip his hair, but he stops kissing me abruptly. I put those hands up there for a reason. Keep them up there, sunshine. We make love like this sometimes because he says I spent too many years denying myself and what I need, and in our bed, he wants me to take. I immediately throw my hands back up and gasp when he sucks the skin of my lowest rib. I hope it leaves a nice little mark, a souvenir from Paris.
Ooh, so sexy.
His calloused hands danced all around my body, squeezing the curve of my backside before sliding around my hips, dipping under the hem of my cotton panties. I arch shamelessly into him when those fingers intentionally never quite brush over where I need him. He grins against my navel when he sees me squirming, because this is exactly how he wants me. His tongue flattens against my pelvic bone and traces a line lower, leading down the path I know he loves to take. But I catch his shoulder and tug him until he looks at me. Not this time, I say. Tell me what you want then, Annie. His voice is somehow tender and dripping with sensuality. The way he says things to me, sometimes I think it'll send me over the edge all on its own. You, I say simply. He rises back up over me, grabs a foil from the bedside table, rips it with his teeth, and rolls it on.
I said a foil? Are you about to smoke meth?
Stop using a condom. Just get on birth control. Jesus fucking Christ.
Just get pregnant.
And that's it. You know, that's how the extent of the sex. But then they live happily ever after.
Yeah. I'm sure they have no problems ever, no fights, nothing.
Nope. And that's the book.
All right.
So what'd you think, Paul?
I mean, I'm glad you liked it.
It's cute.
It's cute.
It was cute.
It wasn't like bad.
It was a fun read. I read it in like
yeah.
I started reading at like 5 p.m. and I finished it the next morning by like 7 a.m.
Well, yeah, that was a fun one. I mean, it's definitely not my favorite. It wasn't exciting. It was a little boring.
Yeah.
It was a little boring.
I honestly I thought this book was going to be like one of those books where
from the back I thought it was going to be spicier.
Well, so I thought it was a case of it looks like this, but it's smut.
Smut, yeah. Because from the back, it sounded. I was like, "Oh, he's the bad boy, and he's going to teach her. Like, he's going to turn her out." And he like wasn't even bad at all.
It was cute. I liked it.
It was cute.
Yeah, not. I thought it was going to be smut, and it wasn't. So I was disappointed.
It's definitely like on par with like the soccer gay one.
Yeah. Yes.
And the lesbian one.
Only that one had cock rings in it and shit.
That's
so that
true.
Actually had
that
some
did
spice.
Have
this didn't even have spice.
But I guess just like the story of the people feels very where it was like, so you're just like really slow burning. Like you're just not fucking, you're being difficult.
Yep.
But no, it was good overall.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
No.
What's next week?
Deep End.
Next week
next time.
Deep End. All right, I think the Deep End. Ooh, okay. I think it's about a college swim team.
Okay.
Male college swim team, and it's going to follow our male main character, who is a freshman on the team, his first year on, and they're like part of being on this elite team is that you have to go from your like. Over the summer, you have to go and do like this swim camp, basically.
Like training,
camp where it's like really intense, like Olympic level, like
totally.
Swim training, and like they kind of guess everybody and like or like kind of get a feel for everyone and like
could you go to the Olympics?
Yeah, like how much are we going to invest in you and kind of like all of this stuff. So it's like very competitive. Mm-hmm. Very like tense, and it's like an honor to be part of this thing, and it's like the swim team's a big thing at this school. So our main character's gonna go, and he's in this college through grants and scholarships. He does not come from like money, and this is like a pretty pricey college, but it's like he's an amazing swimmer, and he's like really smart, and he's going to school for like literature, English or something. But he's like doing the swimming thing almost like as a side, like just so that I can go to college. But he is incredibly talented as a swimmer.
Okay.
But it's just his motivations are not. Everyone else is kind of like, I could give a fuck about school. And he's like, no, I want a life outside of school, but swimming is my way to get to do this. So he goes and he's like, he doesn't fit in with these rich kids. He doesn't fit in with people that have been able to like dedicate their whole life to swimming. It's like, yeah, he swam and he did really good, but he was also going home and like making dinner for his siblings and like trying to clean up the house and like, care for a house where it's like just a single mom who's a raging alcoholic and can't really do fucking anything. But she's sweet and she loves him. It's just, it's hard when you're poor and you're a single mom of 3 kids. Yeah. And he's the oldest. So whatever, he's got all this baggage he's taken, and he's going there, and it's like, they're in the dorms, and it's very, the kids, the other boys can tell he's different than them, so they are like standoffish with him and shit. And he gets into like, not like fights, but like they kind of like fuck with him, like push him to see like if he's gonna be angry and fight back, and he like doesn't really, he just like tries to avoid it.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's just like, he doesn't, it's almost like he doesn't have the fight in him because he fights everywhere else. Yes. Like he's fighting to get by. So then, it's like the first day of like camp, and he's kind of had like a rough first night because they were like fucking with him, and there's kind of like this very well known like legend coach who's in his like 50s, used to be a swimmer.
Can we say maybe 45?
We could say 40. I'd say 45 to 50.
Okay.
Is what I'm going to say.
Okay. I'm going to picture 45.
I love an age gap.
Well, me too, but if he's a freshman, that means he's 18.
He's 18. He's 18. He's going 55. On 19. He's going on 18 to 19. A little too
much for me.
Whatever. Call me by your name.
Paul.
Whatever. He wasn't that much older.
No.
Fine. 45. We can say 45. I'll allow it.
Okay.
Anyway. Hot daddy type.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes. And swimmers are fucking hot.
Yeah. And I mean, like, he hasn't swam in a while, but so he's like a little more muscular because he just kept being fit his whole life. He's less lean.
Yeah.
But whatever, he's like a hard ass, but he's the one that you want the attention of. Like, you want him to take an interest in you because he will make you the best.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So it's like the first day, and he's running them through all the drills. He's whatever. And our boy's just trying to keep his head down and do his best and like get through this day. Like, he has to do this, whatever. And so they always end the first day with like a kind of knockout competition race where it's just like one lap and whoever wins stays in the water and then someone else comes in until they get knocked out.
Okay.
And the fucking dick bully guys like push him in the water first and they're like, you go first. Because ideally, if you're one of the first ones to go, like you're so less likely to win because you're going to have to keep racing every
Right.
single person until they're gone that you'll be so tired. And he fucking does it.
Oh, he
like
smokes
if there's
their asses.
one thing he can do, it's like he has endurance. Like he
Yes.
can outlast if anything
Fuck
else.
yeah, he can.
So then, you know, he gets like the attaboy from our coach
Love
at the
that.
end of it, and like the coach kind of calls him out and is like, "This is what you should be working to be." Like I can't, haven't seen someone that has this level of like ready to go. Like he could be like, "This is the shit I see on my varsity teams."
Yeah.
So then they go back to the dorms, pissed. He has now become,
Yeah.
number one
Star
target.
child.
Yeah, everyone hates him. Everyone hates him. So he'll find like one friend in it all who's just
For
like,
sure.
I get it. But even that guy has like, moments because
He's
he's
got
still with
motives
the,
himself.
yeah, it's like he wants to be number one. So there is still jealousy, but he's
Mm-hmm.
like a good guy at heart. Like, so he's kind of there and helps
for
out.
him.
But so then throughout the camp, it's going to kind of like he keeps fighting, he keeps doing better, but he's getting picked on and bullied and like shit's hard. He's getting like, his locker fucked with and just like everything's getting fucked with. He shows up one day and it's like all of his like swim gear is gone. So he has to like
God.
walk in there and he's like, what am I supposed to like swim naked?
Yeah.
And like that's kind of like the breaking point of the coach realizes like, wait, what's going on? Because he hasn't been engaged in this. Like he doesn't really give a fuck about these kids until they've like proven they're good swimmers, which is
Yeah.
kind of fucked up
For
because it's
sure.
like the college makes money off this, whatever. So that's when he's gonna just be like, all right, like while you're here, we're gonna have private lessons.
I'm gonna tutor you.
I'm
We're
gonna
have
tutor you.
private
I'm gonna
lessons.
tutor you because I
Yep.
think you've got it, and clearly like there's some like shit going on.
Yep.
And so they start doing that, and then
I know
that's
where that's going.
where
Oh, I
the
know.
build
Yes,
goes.
yes. They've
There's-
got moments he
they-
gets out of the pool, he's dripping fucking
Oh yeah,
wet.
he's like, let me help you with your form, like lay back, and he's like holding him in. He gets in the pool with him, and it's just like these little sparks here and there. And the coach is like clearly trying to not like this is highly inappropriate.
Yeah.
He like shouldn't be doing this. And then it'll
Oh,
be
I
like,
can, as I can feel the yearning. I can
Oh,
feel the,
yeah.
we can't.
we can't,
and
we
that
couldn't.
we have that. We
And
can't.
he's like, I'm a grown man. Like I date other
Men. Mm-hmm.
other grown men. Like, and he's like, I'm not. He's like out, but it's not like a thing. Like he's not out and proud. It's just
Yeah.
like he's like, if anyone asked or like no one
Sure.
know, I don't share my personal life. But the fact is, when I go home,
and
like
is this
I'm
a gay
fucking,
awakening for the 18-year-old?
the 18-year-old, it isn't. It isn't. Like he has always
Because I love a gay
like
awakening.
masturbated to gay porn, but he's never dated because his life has just been like
Yeah.
I have to do school and do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like he hasn't had time to explore his sexuality. So now that he's like confused in the beginning of just like, is it because I don't have a dad? Like, is that why I'm connecting with
Totally.
this guy? And then eventually they're gonna have like one night where like he's just been getting it all day from like everyone, and now they're in the pool, and it's like kind of like getting to the last week, and like he's gonna have to go home and like figure out the rest of this shit and start college.
Yeah.
And like he's just not in it during this like tutoring thing. He's like pissed off. And so like, he swims and the guy's like, you're fucking it up. Like you're not doing it right. You're not. He's pushing him, and then finally he like breaks and he's like screams at the coach and is like, what the fuck? And
the coach grabs him
Well,
and
and the coach is like,
fucking-
what the fuck? What's going on? Like what's going on? Like jumps in the pool
Mm-hmm.
because of that, clothed. And he's like, what's like wrong? And the guy's like sobbing, starts crying. And then he just like opens up and tells him everything,
Okay.
all of his trauma, what he's going through with the
Okay,
boys.
but then when do we fuck?
That's when they have their first like kiss.
Yeah.
So they have like this deep, passionate kiss, but it's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
we can't do that.
Yeah.
So then they stop their tutoring lessons and it gets weird. And it's like, regardless, I'm going to see you back at school. Like, you're our coach. Like, you're going to do this. So basically, they have a little time break where he goes home
Yeah.
and finishes the summer. And it's like yearning. Like, what was that? What was that? So the kid's trying to figure out, like, well, fuck, like, I think I'm into dudes. And I guess I kind of always did already know that. Just what didn't take time to do that. And we don't hear, like, what the coach has been thinking, you know? So then it's like this big buildup of like, oh, it's the first day of school. And he's like, my first practice, like, what's going to happen? And practice just runs normal. You like never know that anything happened. And so he's just like, okay, I guess that's that.
Yeah.
And then like everyone's in the locker room changing and getting ready to leave. And like the people, like the other swim dudes are starting to come around. You know, it's taken a while, but they are just like, you're clearly here to stay, like whatever.
Yeah.
So he is getting like some inclusion, and it's like feels good, especially from camp. And then he's, you know, they're all like, okay, let's go hang out now that we're all in the dorms and we live in college, like after practice. And they're all like getting ready to leave the locker room. And the coach is like, hang back. Like, we need to talk about, just like whatever. And so heart fucking thumping, whatever. Everyone else leaves. They stay. And then he like goes in the coach's office and he's, you know, they're alone. What's up? Kiss again. And the coach is just like, I fucking know I shouldn't, but like, I have thought about you since camp. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. And then the kid's like, I think I'm fucking something, whatever. And then it just starts this like illicit affair kind of where it's like the keeping it secret because it's clearly inappropriate, especially like there's bad, shouldn't be doing that on the team. And he's also, this kid's like discovering his, you know, gayness. So it's like he is gonna have like a locker room moment with one of the other teammates and they're gonna like fuck and stuff and the coach is gonna see and then you're like, what's gonna happen? And they get caught by the coach. So the other like teammate, he's just like, oh no, we got caught like fucking. And then the kid's like, oh no, like what did I do? And so there's like another like tense moment of like whatever. And so they eventually like a couple days later see each other and he's like, just like what? And he's like, I'm not mad. That was so hot. Like watching you guys go was like so hot. And he's like, and I want you to have like every experience in the world. Like I've experienced so much. And then after that, it's just like they're on and popping. He's becoming an amazing swimmer. He's fucking destroying like all the fucking meets and shit.
And destroying
the coach. He's topping that coach.
That's what I figured.
He's topping that coach.
And I'm
into that twink topping all day.
Well, he's not a twink. He's a swimmer, but
I mean, swimmers are usually pretty twinkish.
Big. They're like 6'4" with huge fucking shoulders and backs.
Yeah, but tall, thin, and hairless.
I mean, whatever.
Don't come to me about twinks.
I mean, whatever.
Whatever. So either way, then like the big thing is going to be like this dude's like like so good. He's winning all the meets, like whatever. And then they like have whatever nationals, like the big one, and that's like it comes out like someone catches them, and then it's like scandal, and it becomes like, well, is he even going to swim in this meet? Because now everyone's talking about how he must have been getting like unfair treatment. Like he got picked and selected and maybe he hasn't been the best. Like if we were all getting the same coaching, but he's fucking this guy. And it's like a whole thing and they have a whole drama thing. And he like, you know, the coach doesn't know, like, did I ruin my career? Like whatever. And then so the climax is just going to be like, they just like say fuck it and they go to the meet and it's like whatever, they face it all. He swims incredibly. He tears it up. He gets out of that pool. He fucking kisses that coach in front of everyone. And the coach is like, oh my God, whatever. But then the coach is just like, this is my last season, and resigns. And the dude kind of just, they start dating. And the epilogue is just like, it's his senior year. He has had an incredible swimming career. The coach left and has done private teaching and like has done his own thing out of it. And
dude's going to the Olympics.
And dude is like, going to the Olympics. Like he's made it. That's kind of like the epilogue is like they're like married-ish, but it's like civil union more. They're just like partnership where he's like, you live at my house, the coach's house, who's wealthy. He's been being paid well.
What a fun happily ever after, by the way.
Yeah,
Paul.
and then it's kind of just like, I'm going to, like, I love you so much and I can't wait to see where you go and I'll always be here as your coach. And this is us.
I love that.
And that's the deep end because they jumped into the deep end.
Well, we shall see.
I hope so. That sounds so good.
Yeah.
Oh, that dad's so hot.
Yeah.
The coach is so hot.
Yeah. I love daddy vibes.
Silver all over.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
All right, dog.
All right, another good one.
All right, well.
All right.
I guess that's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.